Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to a very, very special episode of the 5Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast. This is, in fact, our year one first anniversary. 365 days of the 5Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast existing. We honestly did not think a year ago, when my recording setup was over there as opposed to over here, that this would exist a year later. And because of in equal parts the work we put in, the people that we worked with, and you guys at home listening and watching and supporting the show, here we are 365 days later. Let me give the lads their dues for their introduction. The beautiful dancing partner, the caramelized to the milky man himself, Mark number 2, Mark number 3. They are the dynamic duo, Mr. Mr. 115,
Yep.
Martin McMahon, and David Carmody. Lads, congratulations.
I'll let you go
We
first.
did it.
Yeah, we did
We
do
did.
it.
Did it.
And
Just
I
for
about.
really
but we
didn't think
did
we
it.
would. I did
No.
not think we would. I
No.
thought this would be
No,
something that would go on for 6 months and then we kind of fizzled it out. But
just a heads up for the people watching on YouTube, the reason I have a blue tongue is because I am currently drinking a slushie. So it's hot. Don't judge me because Emmett already is.
It's
Yeah, actually,
lies. It's something to do with Galacini. We'll go into it later.
It is nothing to do with him. Dickhead.
Before we move on, I might as well say welcome back for another week.
oh,
Yeah, that's have you noticed? Have you noticed?
yeah, and you know, the thing is, I noticed that every time we did an episode together or any time I listened to one, and the first time I noticed it acknowledged was the RCW interview. And I was actually only listening to that like literally 60 minutes ago on a walk around town. And I was there and I was just like, is this the first time that that's been acknowledged on air? Because like it's
I
been
think
in
it
every
was.
episode, I'm nearly certain. Like,
I think I
it
did it
was,
twice. Twice, I think I did it. For one, the RCW.
Hmm.
Who was before?
I know we've mentioned it. I know we've mentioned it outside of the podcast, but I think that was the first time that we mentioned it in like while doing one.
It
I
was.
think we all have some weird form of a catchphrase that isn't a catchphrase, but it's just like a
My
muscle habit that we
beautiful
do.
dance partner.
Yeah.
When the first Carmo shirts come out, it'll be my beautiful dance partner.
Should have
Yeah.
to be like a dirty
Just on the
dancing
back.
thing.
Just a Titanic
Dance-
thing.
Dance partner on the front and then just on the back. Welcome back for another week.
But it has been one whole damn year of you coming up with a stupid idea, us continuing to do this stupid idea with having some amazing people on, and somehow you people keep listening every week. I like we're not the crazy ones.
Yeah, we don't even listen every week. So like,
I do. I listen every week.
He does.
no,
I'm
I
an
do as
egotist.
well,
I
do as
listen
well,
every
I do
week.
as well. I do.
I listen back to the. Let's actually like. Do you listen back to the like old episodes as well? Like obviously Emmett listens to the new ones that come out, but even old episodes.
I listen to episode 1 more than anyone has listened to episode 1. I've listened to episode 1 at
Good.
least
So that's
6
where
times.
the 300 listens come from.
Yeah.
I do though, because like I did it actually earlier today as well. So like, I usually listen to the podcast a day or two after it comes out, especially if I'm not on a particular episode, because I hate hearing myself back and stuff. But I listen back as the interviews have gone on. I've got a thing of going back to listen to episode 1, because like we can kind of get onto this now before we get onto the next segments and stuff. But like the original concept of the show was way
Yeah.
different.
I was
than
actually
what it's
just.
become.
I was just saying this. So for people that weren't at RCW, I was at the RCW show, and I was just saying it to the Wrestle Slam lads because they were asking me about the podcast. I was saying like, yeah, the podcast, it's not supposed to be the way it is right now. It was literally a shit posting of wrestling. Like literally go if you haven't heard early episodes, as much as I really don't want people to. Like any episode after like episode 10 is okay.
Any episode is like from the Foxy episode on is fairly okay.
It's fairly
That's where a lot of
okay.
people catch on, is after
Yeah.
the Foxy one for some reason. But I think there's some gems in those earlier episodes, and like we'll touch on that in a few minutes. But like it's in the name. Like, and what's really weird is like, you know, we have touched on this before. There's 5 of us, and there's 5 of us for a reason when the show started. Like the very original name of the show, which we will touch on in a few minutes, was the 3 Marks, and it was supposed to be just the 3 of us, like, you know. And I just thought about it because Carmo and Martin had never met each other. And do you know something? I'm gonna interrupt myself now. Let's get to the first segment of the show. Let's talk about the origin of the 5 Marks. I'll leave a little gap of sound there for the audio edit. That's going to look really awkward on the YouTube. But anyway, way back when this podcast was not the 5 Marks, and we'll touch a little bit on what we were talking about there in regards to like the original concept and stuff of the show. But where the show came about originally, and it's so weird to think how long ago this is. It's way before there was an episode 1. This is way before Carmo and Martin even met each other. Was I'd obviously, as much as Martin detests it, had from the depths going for about maybe 7 months at this point.
It is the impact to our WWE.
Which explains a lot, because it's a lot better product at the moment compared to WWE. So
is it though?
Well, they have the machine
where's
guns.
The best, where's the best storyline?
Yeah, no, in fairness, that's
From the Depths is making a good comeback though, so you can't.
Yeah,
you know, everyone needs a good comeback.
And they've had WWE have had like 3 years with that storyline as well. To be fair, that's like comparing Narnia to not Narnia. That's like comparing fucking, I don't know, what's it? That's like comparing the Judge Dredd 2012 film to like Star Wars.
You're really trying here.
I really am. I couldn't think of one.
Like
you can just see the steam coming out of his ears from the brain working.
And my face is so red with the heat as well. But like,
and you're sweating. Like,
I remember, like, I actually sent in the photos from this, and I might throw up some more of them on my own socials and tag the 5 Marks so people can see them. But we had a party at Carmo and Chicken's flat just as the restrictions subsided. I'd been doing the podcast, like my own podcast, for a few months. And Carmo came out to me and he was like, if you ever want to do an episode about like heavy metal and wrestling, we can definitely do that. And I was kind of thinking that's actually a really good idea. And fast forward 6 months, I'm in my house. I've gotten COVID. If you go forward a little bit before that, I meet Martin for the first time as we're working together. And as Martin and I are working together, and we were working with Kevin as well, all that like we were talking about between the three of us, if we weren't talking about movies, was wrestling. And when I was at home and I had COVID and stuff like this, and I was relatively fine, I was actually just sitting down watching old Impact matches on YouTube. And I hadn't watched wrestling in a decade. I stopped watching, as it's been stated on earlier episodes, I stopped watching in the spring of 2013, right around the time of Mania 29. And I literally, at a few cans of Guinness, was watching like that 6 Sides of Steel tag match with when Eli Skipper does the catwalk thing. And I remember watching that, and I was kind of like, he just came into my head, the pair of you. I was just like, these two have never met each other, and they're the biggest wrestling nerds I've ever met in my life. Like, do you know what I mean? So I was just like, there and then I made the logo before I made the group chat, the original 3 Marks logo. And I literally made the group chat, and I was like, lads, but you guys have never met, you should meet, we should do a podcast or whatever like that. Threw in the logo, and I was like, boom. And we kind of agreed to it. We sat there for a few months, and then I remember like we met for food, the three of us, and Kevin came along. There was no intention of having Kevin on the podcast at the time or whatever, just because it didn't seem like something to be interested in. And we kind of just suggested it then. That was when the infamous China sex joke, the sex tape episode came up, and all these different bits of whatever. And then we kind of realized between us, we were like, why don't we do 5 Marks as opposed to 3? The reason being, you have more of a perspective. I'd be the Laps fan. The two guys would obviously be like the diehard Marks, and then you would have Chicken, who knows relatively nothing about wrestling, and thought that would be way better dynamic and stuff. We did that for maybe 15 to 20 episodes, and then it all changed. It all totally changed, and changed for the better, I think, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, any thoughts on that, lads? The early origins of the show? Because to be fair now, like I might have been the one that gave you the idea and everything like this, but you really are the ones who took the idea. And if it hadn't been for you, especially with me being in the middle of my final year of college when we started this show, the 5 Marks wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for you. Like, do you know what I mean? You're the flag bearers and the MVPs of the podcast.
I'm LJ Cleary.
No, you're BJ Freely.
I still remember the day you sent the text and be like, hey, look, I want to start a wrestling podcast, and you're really interested in doing it. And I remember getting the text being like, that's really fucking cool. Yeah, because I had a wrestling, like a very short-lived wrestling podcast before. I called it 115 Live. It's still on YouTube. People can go check it out. It was terrible. It was supposed to have like me and my mate, and my mate never fucking showed up to it. So it was me talking to myself for fucking majority of the time. But I was like, oh my god, this is cool. So then, as you said, it just kind of sat there for ages, and I was like, look, here, are we doing this or are we not? And then we got the ball rolling, met up. Kevin got involved, Chicken got involved, then started the shit fucking posting that we did. Carmo takes us to our first Irish wrestling event, and all up from there. Then you can tell
Yeah,
your story
100%. I
now.
was kind of the same as well. So it was actually funny. So when you actually sent that initial text, even though we kind of talked about it and whatever else, about doing an actual wrestling podcast, I was a little bit like, I don't know if I really want to do this, which was kind of mad. And then it was only kind of when we actually met up. I was still kind of like, I was like, I'll go along with it for the moment. We'll see how it goes. But I was kind of like, I'm not kind of sure. It was only when we met up that I was like, yeah, okay, let's give this a go. Let's kind of go for it. Like, let's kind of see what happens.
And now
I don't remember. I'll never forget the amount of laughing. Like I've
Yeah.
never ever laughed as hard. And that was when that was kind of when the talks about making it 5 as opposed to 3 happened, because I was kind of like, if we had, because there was no thing of interviews early on. That wasn't a possibility. We didn't think at all. Like, do you know what I mean? And how the tables have turned, and it was literally less than 6 months the show existed. That came about, but like some of the comments that were being made, it was kind of like a weird kind of like angry video game nerd, that YouTube channel, like that perspective on pro wrestling, which I thought would be hilarious. Like, do you know what I mean? And I really think that the big change after we did the first, like, as we did the first 2 episodes, and they were fun and everything like that, and I still listen back to a lot of them all the time because it's just such a different program now. But like that School of Irish Wrestling show, and particularly I think the 8th anniversary show, was the big change for the program. Now we had different perspectives on it at the time, because I went to that Contender show in August last year, and I enjoyed it, but it was a family friendly show, and I was kind of like, oh, I remember bringing my ex at the time, and I was like, this isn't something I'd bring a girl to. Like, if I was dating a girl, I would bring her to this, whatever. But then you came back from the 8th anniversary show, and I remember you were all buzzing over that, and I watched it back in the video on demand, and that was like, for myself anyway, that was when I was kind of like, okay, there's a lot more here to Irish wrestling than I understand. Like, do you know what I mean? And the floodgates relatively opened for us from there, like, you know.
And now Emmett knows the entire history of the OTT title. Like,
I do.
Literally. Like,
Yeah.
This dude, he went from not having a care to, lads, you gotta check out this match, and oh my god, this trilogy is just off the fucking charts, and then check out this, and then that, and then this.
And it's so true though, because it's the one thing that I'm like so thankful for the podcast about. Was like, like over 10 years ago, like I didn't just like wrestling a lot. I didn't love wrestling a lot. Like I adored wrestling. Like when we talk about wrestling in our group chat, which obviously the people at home can't kind of see or whatever, like I'm often there, and
he books everything.
I book everything. I fancy book everything, and like that as well. My interest in wrestling varies a lot from the lads. Like if we're talking about matches, I might go back and I'd be suggesting, like, maybe at times NWA stuff, early Ring of Honor stuff. Like when we've been debating about the return of CM Punk, which will have happened before this episode comes out, and we're all of different mindsets to it. But the original thing about it was going to be Punk versus Joe, and the lads were having to deal with me in the podcast or in the group chat, being like, "What?"
Yes, I am shocked as well, because obviously it was you and me doing the Corvin interview, that you just didn't instantly fall in love with that man when he starts talking about, oh yeah, like my favorite time was, the Ring of Honor days, and all that type of stuff, that you just go, oh my god, please marry me.
I wanted to, but he's married and I'm a heterosexual male, so it wouldn't work out. God loves a trier.
It's 2023, Emmett, okay? Anything is possible.
But like, do you know what? It to go back to, like, going to like early shows and stuff like that, and like I don't want to jump the gun too much now. Let's keep it to like the latter part of last year and stuff like that. Like it was so weird to see that shift in the show from, like, like the New Jack episode was one we talked about from day one. There's loads of other topics and stuff that I can say this now because we're never going to do it because we don't need to do it. But in the early days of the show, we were kind of 50-50 about doing a Chris Benoit episode. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now we never need to do an episode like that. We thought that we might have to do an episode like that to engage non-wrestling fans. But like, I think the coolest thing about what happened in the latter part of last year was that, like, I was the one coming in with the perspective that we need to appeal to like everybody. Whereas we kind of figured out before the end of 2022, we didn't really need to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, we didn't need to do that at all. And thank God we didn't keep that format for way too long, because I really don't think the show would have lasted. I don't think the interest would have generated if we kept doing those topic based ones. Now I'd like to see some of them come back every now and again, of course, like, do you know what I mean? But to do stuff like that where we are now, I'd like to see him personally be more kind of related to Irish wrestling and stuff, like, you know.
100%. The only thing is, I think doing the kind of, I suppose, topic episodes that we did, I actually thought was very good for us because one, it got us used to doing podcasts, got us used to talking about stuff. Obviously, when we kind of moved into the interviews and stuff like that, which we'll get in later, it was a bit more tricky because you're asking questions to other people that's not us, we'll say, that kind of way.
Yeah.
But I do think those early episodes, like for me especially, like I did radio work, but that was nearly 10 years. It was 10 years ago this year, like, would you believe? So like getting back into that kind of format and just talking was like, kind of shit, how do I do this? Like, that kind of way.
I mean, go back to the early episodes. We're just taking the piss out of Ric Flair and talking about New Jack.
Yeah,
like,
literally
talking about Ric Flair possibly dying in his last match, which nearly happened in the end.
Yeah,
You know, we've come a very, very far. I can't wait to tell. Like, I know I've told it like slightly before to people, just the story of the first interview, because that was fun. That was a fun build up.
it's crazy.
Go on, you're a host. Go on.
Okay. So like that, we were talking about, like, you know, kind of like the origin of the show and everything like that. We've touched on early episodes and stuff like that now. So it would probably make the most sense that we're a year in. I don't know, is this episode 52 at this rate? Because we have done bonus episodes as well.
No, this is episode 59.
59, Jesus. My God. So, in nearly 60 episodes of the show, what have been our favorites? So we said beforehand, for this part, we're going to leave it to maybe not as much interviews, because we're going to tackle that in a few minutes, obviously. But, like, you know, we're a year into the show. We haven't done just panel interviews and stuff like that. We've had the Dropnik Wrestling lads on for episodes. We've done reviews of shows in the past. We've done Mania warm-ups. We've done loads of bits.
A review of King of the Ring, whatever 19, whatever year it was.
86.
We did. And do you know what's another thing we never did? And I thought earlier this year that I'm going to say this now, because we'll say it in an episode and see if people are interested in it. But like I had thrown the idea about doing maybe a bi-weekly pay-per-view review of a classic pay-per-view, and just, again, maybe in a tit, was in the middle of my thesis here, had a lot of stuff going on. I couldn't really commit the time to do it at the time. But now we're in a position where we actually do have time to do that. Like, there's going to be weeks where, you know, Carmo and Martin will be doing an interview, or maybe Martin and I will be doing an interview, or Carmo and I will be doing an interview, where we have kind of flexibility in regards to not everyone is going to need to be on an episode every week. So I did throw about the suggestion to the lads about doing a OTT review every few weeks. Now, they won't be chronological, because we were talking about that. That would take forever. But myself personally, I've been starting to go back through the shows in chronological order. There's a lot of gems there to cover. And we could do it in different formats too. Like, we could do maybe every 2 weeks, we might do, okay, let's review Scrapper Mania 1. And then maybe, you know, a month later, here are our favorite matches of like 2015 from OTT. Do you know what I mean? But if that's something that people at home would like to hear, let us know. We've got a lot more free time at the moment and everything like that, just because, you know, it's just basically working the podcast for us at the moment, which is absolutely fantastic. But getting back to the topic at hand, favorite episodes so far, I do want to highlight one, which we were giving out about the earlier episodes just a moment or so ago. But one of my favorite quotes in this entire run of episodes has definitely been the Sea Monkeys one. I still will be in work trying to do, you know, forms, trying to keep a straight face, and like, it's something really serious could be happening in work, and I'm just there like biting my lip, holding my mouth together, just like, Jesus fucking Christ.
That man is a brand risk.
Yeah.
He is. I don't know how we didn't get cancelled. Please don't go back and listen to those episodes. Well, no, Jesus Christ. The fact, just a funny story with that, right? That happened, and I told this man who was editing the podcast at the time, please, for the love of God, take it out. What'd you do?
Left it in. That could have been our first t-shirt design.
it was mad, because it was kind of like, it's kind of on the border of, you don't know if it's good or bad, you know, that kind of way, but it's funny, so it's okay. It's like, it's weird. It's
very much something that maybe we'll be the only ones who find funny as well. But like, that's kind of why I left it in too, because at the time, like, you know, we do good listenership now, and like, you know, we get great engagement and stuff. But like, you know, really early on, like, no one knew what the 5Marks was.
Thank God it was so early on. Thank God it was early on.
Yeah. It would be a funny novelty for people to go back to now. Now again, like Martin said, I would agree. There is some questionable jokes and stuff like that in the early episodes, but again, obviously, no offenses caused. It was really a shitposting podcast.
Thing is, there was not that much. Like off the top of my head, there's two incidents where I'm like, oh my god, if I can go back, take that off, and re-upload it, like no one knows, I do it. That being one of them, and the second, without saying what the person's name is, would be Kevin introducing himself a certain way.
Yeah, that was what I had in mind as well.
That for me was the worst thing ever said in the podcast.
That it was hands down. So what's your favorite episode? Because that's your highlight. What's your favorite episode?
My favorite episode.
Stop just before we continue because I'm going to go downstairs. My fucking back is killing me sitting here.
Yeah, go ahead. Carmo's going to take us away now. And we're back. Carmo decided to change location because his back is getting old and stuff like that.
I'm an old man now. I'm an old man. I can't do it.
But Carmo, your favorite episode so far then?
So we're going with the early episodes. So I'm probably going to pick between two. The first one is actually the second episode.
What was the second?
As I said, the second episode was the
wrestling terminology. That's it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The start of it though is probably one of the favorites for me because we all came in kicking. I don't know what it was. We were all in great form. Everyone was laughing and joking, and we just started from the start. It was Ric Flair dying. I remember when I once said you said as well. And what was it? It was something to do with like Ric Flair taking a top rope spot. And you guys, imagine pushing your grandfather off a ladder or something, right? It's like it'd be illegal. Like you can't do it, but in a wrestling ring you can. And then the other one was the music quiz. The music quiz for me is like hilarious. So
I don't want to talk about the music quiz.
I forgot to mention now on the YouTube you cannot see him because I only have 3 windows to show off. So, but you can hear him for the first time. This year, at least, anyways. We are joined by another one of the Marks who came in as Carmo did his little break. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin is back!
They're, one time only. Special guest, Mark number 2. Like, how's it going, everyone? It's been a bit of a hot minute since I've been on this podcast. The aptly named 5Marks, which mostly two of them only ever occur. But it's good to be back. How we doing, lads?
You're like the Brock Lesnar now. You only come in when the pay
I'm
is right.
I am literally just I'm a fair weather kind of podcaster. It's taking off now. You're doing great. I'm swooping in now, and I'm just going to take all the glory. Thanks for all the hard work, lads. I appreciate it. But,
I'll take it from here.
But it's a funny thing that people always ask about the podcast is like, why is it called the 5Marks and there's only 2 of you? And it's just kind of like, well, no, you should listen to the earlier episodes. There was 5 of us.
We got asked that recently.
For a lot of episodes as well.
Yeah. Now there's a lot of episodes where there is
5 marks, in which 2 of them are the real marks, and then you have the 3 fair weather friends, you might call them. 3 fair weather
sidekicks. But no, for like a lot of the episodes, I trust us. There is 5. It's just for a lot of it, Chicken is just sitting there playing whatever game he's playing for the entirety of it.
With his cozy on.
With his cozy on.
He's the mascot. See, he really is he's the mascot.
I was actually going to say the first quiz we did when Emmet was. I think that was like episode 6. Where like Emmet was getting really ticked off, and it was a sight to see. So I'll go with something different. I'd probably go with the gaming episode for that, just because I'm a big gaming nerd. So
that's one of my favorites as well. I like that one a lot as well.
That was a lot of fun to record.
It was one of the ones where I could really contribute because, as I said before in the podcast, like probably I don't know if the new viewers, like, they probably don't know me from Adam now, but like the OGs, I did mention that playing wrestling games is how I got into wrestling pretty much.
And if there's one thing people need to go back and check out, his name is in the title. I don't know what episode it is, but when we surprised Kevin with a cameo from the Great Khali, the reaction itself was brilliant.
That's a highlight. That is the highlight of this podcast. I don't think that can be topped.
No, that
was like
the laugh alone was brilliant.
Yeah.
And if you want to see us get really, really angry, there's an episode where me, Emmett, and Carmo reviewed the top 500 for last year, and we got very annoyed, very angry. So there's one to go check out if you want to hear us get really angry.
Do you know what's one that's worth mentioning as well? It's quite recent, but not super recent. Is we did the Scrapper review.
Yeah, with the Drop Mix lads. That was brilliant. That was
like all of us like came off of Scrapper buzzing. Like we're going to talk about shows and stuff in a bit, but like one of my favorite moments in the history of us doing this podcast for a year was like the very end of Scrapper, which we'll get to in a bit. And it was a week later we recorded that episode, and none of us had really seen each other since. And obviously we hadn't seen the Drop Me Lads. Carmo would have actually in work, and like all of us came onto that call, and like we were smiling ear to ear a week after the fact as well, which was absolutely fucking hilarious.
Now that's a good one. I think that one's called like the Mania Special because we did the WrestleMania predictions as well. That was a very, very fun episode to do, which it really didn't take too much planning for it at all. Like we all just kind of rubbed off each other like perfectly. Like the chemistry was all there.
100%. I will say as well, just before we continue, Drop Me Lads have dropped a new video.
Yes.
Anyone who wants to go check it out on the YouTube, it's a Dustin and Cody Rhodes video.
Do you know what?
Go check it out.
I'll add to that because I watched half of that. But their fucking CM Punk documentary, I've watched that in the last number of weeks go from 70,000 to 100,000 to 150,000. It's not like 200,000+ now.
And it's an excellent documentary, to be fair. Like, it is formatted so well. It's so cleverly done as well, like, do you know what I mean? And the narration is brilliant on it. The draw one especially now, I must say, too. I wish more international people that followed that video would watch the draw one, because the draw one is excellent.
I thought the same, and I went into the comments one day, and there are people who don't live in Ireland, who haven't watched Irish wrestling, that have watched that, and in the comments been like, "Oh, I'm gonna go check out Irish wrestling now because this honest to God, I didn't know wrestling was this big over there." Like, if you haven't watched the draw documentary that the Drop Make lads have done, go watch it. It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. It's
brilliant, yeah.
As Fox said, they made one mistake, and that was calling Charlie and Adam the Smoking Guns. But other than that, it was perfect.
When you think about it, wrestling kind of like fits so well into Irish society. Like, you know, the whole like going out, meeting your mates, having a few pints, watching wrestlers like do things, you know, what they love to do. It's great crack. That's why I think it's so popular here.
Oh yeah,
especially when you go to those like and I'd love now for October, the next National Stadium show, to get a lot more of us to it, because I enjoyed the like first Hard Knock show I went to, and I enjoyed the Contenders one, even though that was like family oriented show. But my Christ, Scrapper Mania was like some of the most fun I've had at a live event, music wise, sports wise, anything in my life. It was just 2,000 people getting absolutely langers, roaring abuse at the heels, cheering the good guys. And the end of it, it was like being like, imagine if Katie Taylor won the World Heavyweight Championship in fucking Croke Park. It was like that loud inside there when Sammy won the title. I'll never get over it, because I went in super relaxed. I was like, it'd be a good bit of fun or whatever like this. And then once it just started, it was just hit for hit for hit. And I was just like, what in the name of Christ is this? Like, it just felt massive. Like,
you know what? I nearly compare it to, it's like a panto for adults. Like,
yeah, near enough, yeah.
It's pretty much,
yeah.
Like
that might like sound like, oh, that's a shitty comparison, but that's how I.
You just have Emmett in the crowd, just like, oh yes, it is.
Oh no!
Like instead of saying like, you're a big meathead, you're calling someone a fucking cunt, like, and they just kind of look over at you, you know. Or if you're me and you just say the first thing that pops into your head and it disrupts the match.
The best part about Scrapper Mania as well.
Yeah, I've only been to 2 Hard Knocks events, but yeah, they're actually.
And we have to get you to an OTT event. Have to get you to an OTT.
October, you're coming.
Oh, for sure.
For the anniversary one.
But I love Scrapper Mania for one reason, is that it has Emmett's favorite match that he's ever watched live, the Fatal 4-Way, Robbie X, Pac, Demo, and I can't remember who else was in it.
So a bitter
was
pill.
It Leon?
It was Dan Maloney.
No, it wasn't Dan Maloney.
No, it wasn't Dan Maloney.
Oh no, sure, he was in the 6-man tag. Yeah.
Big Demo, Robbie X, Pac, and Leon Slater.
So it was the The best match Emmett says he's ever watched live.
Now, Kevin, you laugh at this now because issue what happened was the entrances happened. I had about 4 pints and I was like, okay, I need to go to the toilet. Went to the toilet. The line was so long, there was only one bathroom.
Sounds
for the
about
lads,
right.
that when I came out from the toilet, all you could hear is as I sit down is just 1, 2, 3, and I was just like, oh, brilliant. And I missed a 280-pound man do a course to course.
Oh, man.
This is
so
a
good.
bit off tangent, but this happened to my cousin who went over to watch Conor McGregor fight in Vegas. Do you remember that fight? He won in 11 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah.
He bent over like nearly $3,000 and like $3,000 basically down the toilet because he went to take a piss as he won the fight. Like, I'd be gutted.
You would have to, yeah.
But no, we'll definitely have to talk about like going to the first few shows last year as well.
Oh, yeah. Now, I
never actually got to talk about any of them, but yeah, they were a great crack.
I do have a timestamp for that in a few minutes, but what I want to move on to next, I should say, before I forget, because we're talking about favorite episodes and stuff like that, is maybe let's move on to our favorite guests, because that has been really what took the podcast from here to here in the last like 6 or 7 months. I'm going to go off the bat and just kind of say this outright. Between all of us, I think collectively one of our favorites has always been Sim. We talk about the Sim interview all the fucking time, and we can't praise Andreas enough. I'd be very interested to see, because between all of you, we've talked a lot about the Foxy one, we've talked a lot about the Sim one. So maybe with the exception of those two, what is your favorite episode or your favorite interview that we've done on the show so far?
So I'll go. So I'll go different as well, because I know me and Carmo did a Q&A going up to, was it the tag tournament?
Yeah.
And I said it was that Danny Cross was another one of my favorite episodes. So I won't count that one either. But I would have to say the next, like, now, so just for as well, everyone we've had on, I've enjoyed every single interview we've done. Every person we've had on has been brilliant. But my next kind of favorite one we ever did was definitely the Dennis one, because for me that one was so, again, like Danny Cross, was so smooth sailing. It was so easy to do, and what, like, even though the episode says it's an hour and like 42 minutes long, me, Carmo, and Dennis were talking for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it was crazy. How that man sat with us for another, I believe it was like 45 minutes or so after the episode. It was excellent. Like,
we just kept talking for ages. So that definitely is another one of my favorites. It's Carmel.
Favorites. It's a tough one. It's so tough to just narrow it down to like even one, even to narrow it down to like a top 3. It's so tough. Can I go into like a little bit of detail on starting like interviews and stuff like that?
Because I want to talk about the Foxy one.
Okay, so I'm actually going to start with one that was kind of recent enough, which was the Joe Cabrera one.
Oh my god.
That was a great one to listen to, actually. You did a great job with that.
I tell you now, myself and Martin were sitting here for about 10 minutes before the lads joined on. And no word of a lie, if we put our hand up the screen, it was like that.
We were shitting ourselves because that was such a, if we fuck up, we're probably fucked in terms of like having him back on again for a chat about more stuff. Like he's not joking. The two of us were fucking like that. I wish I recorded the beforehands with us, because it's hilarious. It's fucking hilarious.
Like, even when the interview started, I normally have my hands like this on the table that they're in front of me, and even my arms were kind of like that. Like, it was crazy. Only first time being on that interview, I don't think.
Oh mate, like, again, Sam carried that interview and was great, because having him there, who's super comfortable with Joe, and like, I was even saying before, like, I don't know how we're
puts you at ease as well.
Yeah, I was like, how are we gonna just carry this, like, in terms of keeping questions going? And then he just came on. I was like, am I okay to host this and take the lead? I was like, please do it, which he did, and he fucking smashed it. Another one that made us like that, which I want to talk about, was the Foxy one. So obviously Foxy, our first interview on here. I'll never forget sending the DM, because at this point, like, I know a lot of people are like this. like they're fucking wrestlers. Like you in your head, I'm just like, oh, I really don't want to bother this person. So I sent 2 DMs out this day. I sent one to Sam, one to Foxy, and I literally, with less than a minute, Foxy had replied and was like, yes. And I remember texting the guys like, we got Foxy. Carmo was like, what the fuck do you mean we got Foxy? For an interview. And we were fucking, again, we were shitting ourselves because this was the first interview for the 2 of us.
That was the most research I've ever done for an interview. Bar one interview, that's the most research I've ever done because I panicked. I was like, what do I need to do? What do I need to have ready?
What topped that then, research wise?
Editing theory.
Yeah, that's fair.
Emmet.
Okay, so I've got 3 different answers for this to listen to as a fan. I love the Angus McAnally one, and the reason for it is I'm in love with Angus McAnally. I think he's an absolute fucking legend. And what I found so funny throughout the interview as well is like, I don't know if you guys know who Foil Arms and Hog are. Do you know the comedy trio? They often come up on Facebook and stuff like that. But I realized listening to the interview, do you know the way that Angus was talking about his backgrounds in drama and theatre and stuff like that? He looks the spitting image of one of those lads. And I started questioning on the dart from Greystones to Tower Street. I was like, are they related now and everything like this? And I was having like a proper confused moment on the dart home listening to it. Another one for me now is like the Sammy D one. I really enjoy that a lot. And you know what Martin's going to think I'm saying this now in gimmick. I'm not saying this in gimmick. One that I really love. And
don't say his name.
I'm sorry, it is. I think the Gallicini one is brilliant. I think it's really good. He seems like an absolute legend. He seems like a lovely guy, man. And I swear to God, like I enjoyed him when I saw him in the first 2 Hard Knock shows. And then a little bit of a behind the scenes thing. I sometimes watch the Zoom recordings before the episodes are edited and go out. If I'm at home doing nothing and if I'm eager to hear an episode, I'll listen to it before it's edited. And just the big smiley tashed him throughout the entire interview. I was just like, how can you not love this man? What is there not to love about Gallicini? Like, he seems like an absolute legend. Like, and I'm not saying that now to rattle your gears, Martin, or anything. Like, it was just if you know nothing about Irish wrestling, if you know nothing about Limerick wrestling, listen to the Gallicini one. It is just the most charming interview you're ever going to hear in your life.
I'd agree with it.
I think all the wrestlers
agree with this. Of course, you'd agree with it.
I think all the wrestlers I've met have seemed like genuinely just down to earth, like sound lads. Like that they're all just dead on. Like you can just approach them, no bother, and they're just really friendly. Like
for sure, that's been one of the great things.
Oh yeah,
if they're a heel while you're watching the show, stay away.
I want to give a funny story. So if you haven't listened to the Sammy one, go back and listen to it, especially the very start. I love the start of it. Which take a pause, I think, because Sam wants to go get a drink, and I'll never forget. I was like, oh yeah, I'll pause it here and now, and he just turns around and is like, oh, you think this is gonna be an easy break? You're gonna have to edit. It's gonna take ages now. You're gonna have to edit all this or whatever, and it's just pretty much like tough shit on you. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna leave this in now, just to annoy you. And him just turning around, going to me, just like, yeah, and I'll fuck you. I was like, oh, I'm leaving that in. That's fucking hilarious. It's probably my favorite intro. And another funny story of an intro, when we had Big Damo on, which that one was fucking like. Couldn't believe we got that one.
Yeah, actually.
Damo actually tweeted at us because I put in before we started a conversation between myself, him, and Carmo about I think Carmo said, you can curse and whatever all you want, and he says, oh, I was gonna do that anyways. We're given this language for a fucking reason, and goes obviously like that. He tweeted at us being like, that's probably the most political I've ever been on anything. My dad would be so proud.
Do you know, if I could say any regret I have in the 12 months that we've been doing the show is the day before Scrapper Mania when Damo had all those extra t-shirts going for like €10.
Not buying the €10 one?
No, and not buying it, but like buying it and not letting him do. Do you remember we had made the plan to let him
I
rip
mean,
the t-shirt off me?
realistically, all right. So think of that. So for people that don't know, going into Scrapmania, I tweeted at Damo like because he said, "Oh, I've got, I think it was like 50 extra shirts. I'm going to sell them for a tenner." And I said, "I'll buy one off you for 15 if you rip the sleeves off of one while Emmett's wearing it." Of course, that never happened, and Emmett never bought a T-shirt. He was terrified to go to Damo.
Now, can we just give for context too, right? This was the day after St. Patrick's Day, so
Well, he was pissed.
So, I had the fear coming through my body, and I was like, there was like 100 people in this room now. I'm sweating bollocks here. The last thing I want him to see is the t-shirt get ripped and my skinny ditties out all over the place for everyone to see.
But you know what the funny thing is in the end?
Skinny ditties. That's a new one there now.
The funny thing in the end, it was...
It's a classic Emma Casey lingo term there.
The funny thing in the end is, in the end, it ended up being me who had that T-shirt ripped on them because of the Boots interview. There's Boots. Shout out to big old Boots. There's a scene that's actually not in it, but he grabs my shirt and pulls me. I think I put up the video on my own Instagram, my personal Instagram. He grabs my T-shirt and pulls me in, and all you can hear is just the T-shirt ripping. And in my head, I'm like, oh God, please tell me now the left side of the shirt is not completely ripped. And I've got like a massive hole there where my chest is just out. Thank fuck it wasn't. It was just stretched. And he was just like, I am so sorry. I'm like, look, it was a €10 shirt. Like, I'm just more happy that I didn't decide to wear my brand new, but what, a week in advance like that? Sammy D shirt. That would have cost me 25 because I had that on earlier in the day and I went, you know what? No, because I think you had the Damo one on before and I was like, oh yeah, I'll wear Damo now and you wore Sammy. And fuck, I decided not to do that. So there's a fun thing with the T-shirts.
I'm going to bring up something about Boots as well at the end, and there's a couple of people that I want to mention at the end. But we'll get into that.
Perfect. So that's us talked about our favorite guests so far. So, my apologies. So we need to move on to our favorite.
You know what? Actually, before can we go back a small bit? I do want to make an honorable mention because his name wasn't mentioned, and I think he's not. He's the second person. Matthew Bullet Smith, absolute gem.
What a gem!
For everything that he's come on
twice too. Actually, yeah, that's
brilliant. So good, so good.
But the second one in particular now was actually a great interview as well, to be fair to you lads. That was a really, really good one. And you know something actually to mention offhand as well, when it comes to interviews that you've done, and I don't know why I forgot to mention this now. I know I was mentioned already, but Danny Cross one I will say in particular as well. Actually,
oh my God, so
that's
good.
a great one.
Fun story about that one before you go into your thing, because see you keep adding things.
It's actually a really good story. I can confirm this is a good story.
I'm gonna say like we went into that with nothing. All right, so we met Danny for the first time at Homecoming. Now myself and Carmo, this is before like we're still very new into asking people. So like we're there like watching like Sam and Adam and Danny, kind of like sell merch and stuff at the intermission. I was just like, should we go up to them? Carmo was like, yeah, go on, let's go up. So Carmo was like, oh, hey, how you doing? And I was, shook Danny's hand. And I shook Danny's hand. Oh, I'm Martin from the 5Marks. And he turns around and just goes, you're the 5Mark lads. Lads, I listen to you all the time. Your podcast is great. And the two of us are just, what?
I didn't drop to the floor there and then I never will.
He knows us. He's like, lads, you have to get me on for an interview. Like, please. And I was like, you're asking us. We literally came, I didn't say this, but in my head I was like, we literally came over here to ask you to come on. Like, what? But like that interview was, we said this going into it. And we actually, I think we placed bets on how long it was going to last. Because we knew it was going to be the easiest interview. And we knew because we had met him as well at Hard Knocks after that it was going to be one of the longest ones, because we knew that we could just talk to him for fucking ages. We were so comfortable talking to him, And even now, still do. Met him there at RCW. He was. I went to get money out of the ATM, and he was there inside the Centra. I was like, "You heading off home now?" He goes, "Nah, not yet. We're gonna be heading off now in a bit, though. We're gonna stick around for the rest of the show." And at the end of the show, my sister Desiree's a massive. I know I'm off on a tangent now. I'm doing an Emmet, but look,
it's part of the gimmick. It's okay.
It's part of the gimmick. We keep saying to the lads as well when they do this, it's grand. Adds on to the time. My sister Desiree is a massive Raven Creed fan, and she saw Raven Creed at RCW doing autographs, so she was like, "Oh, can I go over and get that Raven Creed?" I was like, "Work away." Sarah, my sister, who does our TikToks videos, came over to me and was like, "If I get Danny Cross's signature on my arm, should I get a tattoo of it?" Psh, you won't do that. I will. Yeah, I will. No, you won't. I swear I will. This is literally how it went. Danny, come here. Help me do something terrible. My sister says she'll get your name autographed on her arm if you sign it. Do you have a pen? Who has a pen? Grabs a pen. Is like, "What do you want me to write?" She's like, "Just write your name." All right, perfect. Signs her arm. "I want to see that tattooed." And I was like, "Thank you for helping me be an irresponsible brother." That's how well we get on with Danny Cross. I fucking love the dude. Like, he's so fucking nice.
And you somewhat technically have a Danny Cross tattoo as well. Like, I wanted to touch on this at some point, so we have to mention
the camera.
it now.
Not there. No, it's not.
If you go
Just pull
flying
down the pants
over
there,
the chair
yeah.
now.
Just for the YouTube. I don't think I've ever seen it. I've shown it on the YouTube. Yeah.
So
it
for
is.
the
You
audio
can see it.
listeners,
The draw
They
tattoo
can't see it.
on my
it runs
dude's leg.
awkwardly.
For the audio listeners, I'm going to describe it. It runs all the way up to the groin.
I missed what he said.
But
Probably
yeah,
for the best.
For the audio listeners, just to say, like, Martin has the Draw logo on his leg, which just for the if you think that we're kind of like blowing a bit of smoke now to say that, Joe, we went a year ago from knowing nothing to being big into it. I think that's a testament to show how big into it Martin got that he has an actual Irish wrestling tattoo on now, to be fair.
I'll never forget the day as well. I was supposed to go get my COD Zombies tattoo finished, like the rest of it and done, and that's it. But my psoriasis had just grown over the arms. I was like, fuck, there goes that idea. So I texted the lads at group chat, like, because this was an idea I had. I was like, would it be stupid to get the Draw tattoo on my leg? The two of them, no, that's fucking class. Alright, fuck it. So I sent the design off to my tattoo guy. He was like, okay, I can't do it like the way they have it. I'd have to make the skull bigger and stuff like that. And I was like, that's even fucking better. Do you know, because I actually prefer this version of my leg to the normal one. I prefer the skull being like zoomed in. I remember showing it. First, I showed it to Sam at Road to the Top. And Sam just looks at me and goes, "The fuck are you doing?" I was like, I needed a tattoo, massive Draw fan. He goes, "That's fucking commitment. That's fucking commitment." So got a photo then, and then I showed, I think, did Danny come in before or with Sammy at Hard Knocks?
He came in before. He was kind of in around. He was there at the kind of same time, but he kind of.
I remember because Carmo came in and I was gonna come over. Because I was already there. I walked over and I saw Danny, and again I'm in my shorts, and I went, "Oh, because Danny had already seen it on Instagram." I went, "So what you think?" And he goes, "You're a mad bastard. That's fucking class. I want a photo with that later on." I was like, "Perfect, awesome." Got his photo, and I was telling him about Sam. He goes, "Don't worry about Sam. He just doesn't like tattoos."
No, what I will say, and this is nothing to do with the tattoo or anything like that. The whole time that you've been talking and explaining the whole Danny Cross story, you've got the whole thing wrong. His name is Jay. It's Jay.
It's Danny Cross. Danny Cross.
It's Jay. Ask be cool. It's Jay.
We will leave this up to the listeners to dictate.
Shut the fuck up, you.
We've got a few.
You are wearing the T-shirt. Look at you wearing the T-shirt. You're on his side.
But the thing is, we've got a few weeks till July 15th. July 15th is going to show is he Jay or is he Danny Cross. That's going to be the day that's all figured out. So we'll leave that as a poll for the social media.
You can make a YouTube poll. Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's Danny Cross. Move on, Emmet, before I kill him.
So our next segment, moving on with this special anniversary show, is our favorite moments in the history of the 5 Marks of Death. Now, these don't have to be episodes that were on the air. These can be these can be moments that were at shows. These can be moments that we had in conversation, moments in the group chat. Anything that comes to mind within the first 12 months of the show's existence. I will say one that I personally love. We've mentioned Sem actually quite a bit already, but he's been a massive part of the first year of the show, to be quite fair to him now. He's been a massive, massive help. He's a good mate of ours. Lovely, lovely guy. I can't say enough kind words about him. It is from the last Hard Knock show when Martin's sister prepped a load of the SEM masks.
Oh.
So in our little corner, we had like the SEM section and everything like this, which was a nice little thing, was picked up on camera and everything. But we got a savage photo of 4 of the 5 of us.
I know it's audio, but I still have mine here.
Oh shit! No, well, we got.
I know I'm on audio, but
that is unreal.
Mine's
I
next
lost
to my
mine.
bed.
1 second. She did have them on the couch. Oh,
Sam actually has one.
See, funny story with that. So these, just for the people like Kevin, these are for the people that didn't know as well, who've watched Hard Knocks. It was us. These are the SEM masks. Us and the Drop Mic lads. As the SEM masks. And Sem has one. And have you watched the tag tournament for Dublin yet?
Mm-hmm.
He brought it out to the ring.
He did. It was savage.
I remember.
I popped for it.
I remember we were at the show and he put it up on his Instagram. He had the mask, and I fucking went. No, I think it was you or my sister. Was like, Sem has the mask. It's like, which means Sem has the mask. Shows me the photo. I went, no fucking way. Sem has my sister's fucking Sem made mask for an OTT show. So I rang my sister. I was like, Sem has your mask. He's going to wear it to the ring tonight, and she was buzzing. Fucking delighted with herself. So he's been a massive fucking
I must
help.
say they turned out really well.
They did. They really fucking did.
Very
Fair fucks to your system, and they turned out really, really good.
So we're gonna keep it at Hard Knocks now. We're always gonna be the SEM section for life. We're gonna start attacking people. Carmo's
No, we're not doing that.
Carmo's going straight for Francis. I'm going straight.
I'm going to run in with drop kicks, clotheslines, whatever it is.
We're going to be known as the Semlings. You know, we're gonna be his little gang.
But yeah, no, Sem, as much as he is like an honorary mark. Like some of the shit he's done for us that people don't know of is ridiculous. So
I'm gonna mention something on him as well at the end.
But Emmet, what's the point you were getting to? Favorite moment?
Just so just the moment that we got after that show with the photo, because it's nice. Like, I have about 7 photos from this year that I am going to get developed and kind of put into a little thing at home to mark the year of the show myself. One of them is the scrapper moment when LJ is coming up the ramp and the t-shirt that you guys got me, where he's there coming up going like, it's a beautiful life, and I'm just like, oh.
No, you weren't. You were so vibing. You were just like.
And you know, I've no excuse, like, you know, with Sammy's title win and everything like that, which is another moment I will say, which was like, I'll get into that in a second, but like when LJ was coming up the ramp and everything like that with 2,000 people buzzing, and you know what the worst part about it is, like, you know, I love LJ. I'm a massive mark for LJ. I'm an even bigger mark for that fucking song now at this point. Like, it's going to be on you know, your end of year Spotify. It's going to be number 1 or number 2. But yeah, that moment was.
I have it on my gym playlist.
It's savage.
It's a banger of a song.
It's so good, and it wouldn't be the type of thing I listen to normally, but he's just given that song a whole different meaning of life to me. Same with Crawl by the Kings of Leon because of Sammy D. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
also on my gym playlist. I don't know. It's just a good song getting.
Yeah. And
it makes you feel like a boss. Like, it really does. Maybe it's a Sammy
exactly
D's persona as well, but you just feel like such a fucking badass.
Like, if you're doing like back or something like that, and you're working away in a machine, and you're just kind of like, fuck, you know. But I would say, out of all the moments that we've had, we talked about the first time that we all met over dinner and stuff like that, and that was a funny one. But Sammy winning the title, which I hinted at earlier that I would bring it up later, us watching that was so funny. And Kevin, I wish there was video of it for you to see now, to be fair. Same for the listeners at home, because like, we were there and like the 2 lads knew it was coming. So they were kind of up off their seats. They were like this silent. And me, Langers, I leapt up. I was like, lads, like, grabbed the 2 of my headlock. I was like, it's happening. And it just, the 1, the 2, 3. And like, the video on demand doesn't do its service. The place literally fucking exploded. It was insane. I've never seen anything like it. And like, I'd been to loads of wrestling events as a kid. You know, met a few as a teenager and a few then when we started the show. But man, that was just next up. That was kind of when I knew as well that we went from like getting into the Irish wrestling scene to really, really loving it, because we would have taken the chairs out of the ground if we were allowed to, like, do you know what I mean? Just start flooding it Terry Funk style into the ring.
At that point, you could say we were literally hooked if we're jumping out of our seats for Sam winning. You know,
because 6 months prior we wouldn't have known who Sammy D was.
No,
and for us to care that much less than half a year later it's a testament to the work that the lads put in. To be fair, especially the fact that, like, you know, I come into it having not watched wrestling in a decade, and I was there losing my life 6 months into it. Like, do you know what I mean? And it was a full circle moment for us, which is why it's probably my favorite moments since we've started the podcast so far. And there'll definitely be bigger moments to come in time, but like for year one, that's my favorite moments.
We all know the biggest moment is when I eventually do the China porn episode. Like, you know, I'm just gonna say, like,
coming soon.
It's coming. I swear. It's like, you know, at this stage it's become like Half-Life 3. Like, you know, I keep on saying.
No, do you know what it is like? It's like what's the new Dead Island that came out? Dead Island 2. Do you know when they like released the trailer like 10 years ago?
Oh yeah.
And it only came out like
10 years.
Yeah, it only came out this year, so just another.
So 10... what we're saying, what Martin's saying is another 10 years.
Well, another 9 years. Another 9 years.
Yeah. Within 9 years. That's fair.
Carmo, because I'm still thinking, I'll let you go.
Yeah, I was just going to give like a little moment. So my moment was actually going to be Sammy D winning the title when Emmet kind of grabbed us in and we were all just like roaring our heads off. But I'll give it a slightly similar moment. So myself and Chicken went to the 8th anniversary show. Yeah, also in the National Stadium. And Chicken bought us tickets and he bought us second row seats and they were phenomenal. So good.
I'll never forget this. Sorry to cut you off. I'll never forget you realizing it was second row and just hugging him. Like,
no, I didn't realize it. I genuinely didn't realize. But the moment out of that got me was when LJ beat Cardona. And the reason why is because literally Chicken was standing behind me and he had his hands on my shoulders. And both of us were roaring, telling Cardona to tap out. And literally, as he did, he literally just shoved me. And we just both turned around and we hugged and we like started roaring and everything in the class, yeah. But that's one of my favorite moments.
Great match too. We've talked about it a bit, that match on the show, but like I rewatched it only there last Friday, I think it was. And man, it's great crack actually watching back the show since we started the podcast, trying to spot where you guys are as well. There's like,
I can't remember what show it is, but there's one show I like to like. I don't know why, but I keep getting like the preview things on my YouTube, and I always check them out to see who was on the cards. There's a lot of old shows where you can actually spot guys like Kia Noonan and Sam and all the people in the crowd, and I'm always like, oh my god, that's it's crazy how far they've come from fan now to wrestling with them. A lot of my moments are very kind of like a humble moments for myself. Like, thank God that you fucking said majority of the cool shit, like the SEM masks and everything. Because now I can kind of like narrow it down to these. Like, going to RCW there the weekend and doing my first interview representing 5Marks. Fucking crazy and massive moment that I was so happy with. God, what else? Scrapper Mania itself, after Scrapper, was so like talking with Daddy Cross, Sam coming up to us as well, and getting the thing from Foxy and everything.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
That was so fucking cool.
That photo moment actually as well.
Yeah.
Just because you mentioned it, and there was loads of people looking our way who kind of knew where we were. That was very much a kind of like, we're established now. Like, it's a kind of egotistical as it sounds. It was a very self-fulfilling moment. Like, do you know what I mean? We had the logo in front of us. Foxy was there. There was a lot of people looking our way and everything like this. And it was a nice buzz to be going home being like, okay, they know what the podcast is. They know who we are. That's, success. Like, do you know?
And I'd say, I'll say this moment, like this, it's like the coolest thing for me, because it's still weird to me, is people knowing the podcast and knowing us and being like, hey Martin, it's still the craziest thing to me. Like, if someone comes up like, oh, hey Martin, how you doing? I love your podcast. And me being like, I can't believe you know who the hell I am. That is so fucking cool. So that's kind of the really cool moments of the podcast so far. is those kind of humble moments.
The free t-shirts helps too. It's kind of why I wore it today as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was when we knew we were in. That was when we had the clout and we got a bag full of free t-shirts.
As well, I love how like a lot of the guys know us as well. Like, you know, I told the story about meeting Danny in the shop the other day. Renzo was there too, and that man was just staring me down, like you know, in character. Just, I was like, Renzo, it wasn't me. I swear, it was one of the other marks. I'm sorry.
It is the most humbling compliments that I could actually say as well. I think I can say this because so many people have said it too, that we've been told back from a lot of talent around Ireland that a lot of people in locker rooms have talked about the show, which is something if you said to us a year ago, we'd have been like, sure, no, that's not happening. And now that a year in, that is happening. It makes me anyway very excited for year 2 and what's to come. We'll get to that later. But I think when when you're told that once or twice, you're kind of like, they're just saying that to be nice now or whatever. But the level of which we've been told that now is next level, like, and it is the most humbling compliments in the world. I think the great thing now, and this is a compliment I want to throw towards the two of you now, is in regards to Martin and Carmo, is you've done such a fantastic job through your interviews and making people comfortable. Because, you know, we always ask people what they not want to talk about beforehand or whatever, and there's certain things that people mention that we're not going to get into now or whatever that we wouldn't mention anyway. And I think they all have their mind at ease when they say these certain things, and you're kind of like, sure, why would we talk about this? We want to talk about this. Do you know what I mean? Like, and they just kind of know that they're not getting hounded or poked or prodded at, and it's just, you know, laid back chatting about wrestling and everything like this. And that's been the effort that's been the reflection of your work on the show, which is absolutely fantastic. I can never give you enough credit for that, to be fair.
Yeah, no, honestly, that's fair, folks. Like, you've done wonders. Like, you really have.
We've done shit even that we're surprised we did.
Yeah. Still trying to catch up with that Foxy interview. Like, what happened there?
Like, it just keeps happening. We keep getting interviews, and it's brilliant. I love it. And I love just having the interaction with the guys, and just like to just go to the shows and just, you know, the lads see us and just like, oh hey, you know, and want to come over and chat with us is crazy. It's something he didn't think would ever fucking happen. Like,
no, not at all. And like, I kind of built a little bit of a relationship between like Gala, Mercer, AJ, Mikey, those kind of boys, you know, that kind of way. And as you said, Jay, the Sammy D moment, the Scrapper, don't go there. The Sammy D moment, the Scrapper, and numerous other people, you know, that kind of way. It's mad. Like,
it is just crazy to think of. I have one question just that kind of coincides with this. What is the one moment of the podcast that you cannot believe happened?
Easy.
Go on.
Easy.
I know Carmel's. Yeah, I knew Carmel's.
Joker Break, has to be.
I think that's the unanimous one between all of us for year 1, because for a while, the earlier part of this year, to give context to the listeners, we would have kind of like quote unquote production meetings where we'd either meet for food and a few pints and talk about what we're going to do over the next few weeks, or we might have a Zoom call and talk about stuff. And for the longest time, Joe was a goal of ours, but we all collectively thought that's going to take at least 2 years, because we were told to the grapevine you have to build a level of trust and stuff like that. And I think it's what I mentioned about the reflection of how kind of trusting people are with you two with interviews and stuff. I think us being able to get Joe on so early on was a reflection of that. Like, do you know what I mean? The fact that happened is amazing. I think the two that come to my mind, that if you had asked me in October and you said it would happen within 6 months, I'd be like, fuck off, you're taking the piss now. LJ was one, and Damo especially was another. And the reason Damo would have been one is, like, you know, he's married to his partner who lives over in the US. He's taking UK bookings like constant. He's flying over and back to the US, between the US and the UK all the time. I was like, not a hope. And then when that happened, like, I'll never forget like seeing it like mentioned in the group chat, and we were talking about like, oh, if we give a donation to this charity, we'd be up doing it, whatever. And I was kind of like, okay, we need to do it and everything like this. And we collectively were like, okay, we're going to do it. And then I was expecting once we gave that donation that we'd be waiting like 4 or 5 months. And then, okay, I've got an opening here. You guys let me know if it works. And I thought we'd go like that. And within like 14 days, the interview was done. And I remember like I hadn't been able to pay much attention to the group chat during that time because it was like interviews and stuff for my thesis. And I remember seeing the episode uploaded. And the funniest part about it is like, you know, like I'm actively involved in the podcast. And even I was there, like, you know, seeing the announcement, being like, what? Like,
yeah.
When did this happen? Like, and then the funniest part about that then was like when Martin now would start doing clips for promoting the episodes. And the clip that he did to promote that episode was Damo threatening me to fucking my show.
I had to do that. I think was it for Scrapper Mania or something like that.
It was built up
and
to
you
Scrapper.
hadn't booked the time off, and Scrapper was slowly but surely approaching. And
it was like 3 weeks away.
And I was like, you know what? If he's not going to listen to me, you cannot ignore a big, angry person from Belfast. Damo, do me a favor. That was actually going to be my one, was the big Damo one, because the former WWE wrestler, stuff like that. That was fucking unbelievable that happened. But just to be different then, you know, because I was like, when Emmet mentioned interviews, I was like, and who we should get on. Like, I remember, God, not believing him. We had like one meeting. He's like, "Oh, we gotta have Sam on. We gotta have Joe on, and I promise you, we will have them on in the next year." And I was like, "No, we won't. Not a chance." It's like Joe Bray is the owner of OTT, and Sammy D is like one of their top stars. We've had both of them on like in the first couple of months. Do you know?
It was actually within 12 weeks of that meeting. I did out the Matson this the other day, and I was thinking back because that was, I had come back from Edinburgh, and we met for food and a few pints. And I remember I had the notes on my phone, and I know that it was January 15th. And on January 15th, we mapped it out. And I just looked at the release dates for the Spotify. Sammy was less than 8 weeks later. Joe was less than 12 weeks later. And I was just like, and there was us, like me especially, I was like, the Joe one will take at least a year. Sammy maybe in 6 months we get. Both within that window, I was kind of looking at it and I was like, geez, okay, we're doing well. Not to stroke our own egos, but I was like, this is pretty good now, like, you know.
Even
Go on.
Sorry, what, Martin?
I was gonna say I was very surprised it happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say even in interviews in general, I'm surprised like I would have thought it would have been in around now that it would have started, maybe even another 6 months or so. So to say how far we've come, it's just like it's.
No, we love
like
chatting
I
to the guys.
You hear it in all these things about like, you know, people winning stuff or doing something that's kind of major. Like, I actually pinch myself every now and again. I'm like, we interviewed like all these people. Like, this is crazy.
I got to talk to LJ Cleary.
It was going to be something,
but you know what I mean.
It was going to be something I was going to touch on the end, but I'm actually just going to throw it in now. It was going to be part of the closing segment, but I'm going to throw it in now because it's way more fitting for this. We're going to be finishing the episode later on about like kind of future goals and stuff like this. But like I was thinking about this when I just went for a long walk today, just to kind of before we record and get out in the sunshine for a bit. And I thought about this, and I'm thinking guests for year 2, right? So we always have like, you know, the dream international ones, and I'm not talking about like WWE or Impact or AEW when I say this, maybe like older heads and everything. It made me laugh thinking today, right, when I went for that walk. There were so many people in the Irish scene. Like we worried about this when Martin and I were working together, like in my former employer, that we would run out of Irish heads to interview. And what's hilarious now is like we're in June 2023. I can name at least 7 that we're probably going to have before the end of November. We haven't had Session Mott on yet.
No.
We've talked to Session Mott about it. We haven't had Debbie Keitel on. We haven't had CBL on. We haven't had Steve Savage on. Who else was I
That Steve Savage one needs to happen. Steve,
it will happen.
That is my interview. I want that one to happen. I've watched the WrestleSlam one. It's my favorite WrestleSlam interview. I want Steve Savage on.
But even speaking of Limerick, we haven't had Francis Mercer on the podcast yet. We haven't had like there's
actually no. At this,
by the time this
comes out, we've done it.
Okay, I was trying to keep in canon now because I didn't know that.
No. It's out a week now. God, keep up. Pretend you're in the future.
Yeah, Jesus.
God.
Actually, as well as that, we were
game?
promised a second interview with LJ at some point before he goes stateside. So the audience at that was So there's my spoiler now for you. If we're talking about being in the know.
And that one, what we have planned for when LJ comes back on.
Lads, we're already falling apart.
The 1 year anniversary is actually the split.
what you can look forward to happening is everyone that has their own podcast, they're all just vying for control. Like
the invasion angle, but the 5Marks style.
But
Just come to an agreement at the end of it. Just come to an agreement at the end of the episode. It's like, lads, this is the last episode of the 5Marks podcast.
Oh, imagine.
Thank you for the last year.
But the one,
I'll see you all, and Carmo, if I see you in public, you're dead.
if we get LJ back on and we get to do the idea we have, will probably be the coolest episode of the podcast.
We can't spoil it though.
Oh, I'm not spoiling it, no.
No.
That would take a lot of time and work.
You all heard nothing.
But my question was going to be to you then.
Oh shit, I just realized as well, just for the people watching on YouTube, that's actually Carmo down there at the bottom. I've got Emmett's name on Carmo. This goes exactly what Claire said. We should call you Emmet.
Claire, yeah. I was going to say, Claire, if you're listening.
We might be the 5Marks, but we don't all look alike. Do you know what I
No.
mean? Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Well, what were you going to say?
My question to you was going to be, for year
We're all
2,
special.
guess for year 2, who would you like to see? And I'm just going to throw one on top because I mentioned a lot of Irish wrestlers there. I do want Mark Cardona on the podcast, and I do want Nick Gage on the podcast next year. Those are my 2 international picks.
Can we add maybe if we can get him, maybe a Will Ospreay on.
Oh, yes.
I think I would not be here or in mind or body. I'd actually leave my soul if that happened. I'd have to retire from the podcast if that happened. He is my favorite wrestler of all time. Like, honestly, like when CM Punk started shitting the bed after Brawl Out, it just made me put way more eyes onto Will Ospreay and how many fucking 5-star matches he's had the last 8 years. Like,
He's so good. So good.
So mine has always been and always will be until it happens, and we actually have a thing going on. So just I know I don't tell people this, but I've not had fucking alcohol in years, like a long time, and just because I'm on medication, it like I couldn't drink alcohol for years, but now my liver's fine. It can process
It's a recovering
alcohol.
alcoholic.
Yeah, I'm a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah.
All thanks to Emmet and his and his stupid ways. But me and Emmet have a done deal that I will have my first bit of drink if we have FTR on the podcast. That is my dream guest, is Dax and Cash on the podcast.
I think it's possible. I do think it's possible.
Then, not my dream one, but for year 2, that I really want to have on, would probably, I'm really trying to think of like who we've not had on properly. I think I'll just stick with Steve Savage. I really want to have a sit down chat with Steve Savage. So for year 2,
Yeah.
I'd love Steve on. I'm gonna keep pushing for it till Steve Savage comes on.
I'm going to go with 2 different choices. So I'm going to go like international and I'm going to go Irish. One for international that I'd love to have on just to have a chat with is Orange Cassidy. I
Oh,
think he'd be
yes.
a great interview. Great interview. Another one as well is Danhausen. I think Danhausen will be fucking unreal as well. And
both are
sticking with
possible.
Irish. Oh, 100%. Sticking with Irish. One tag team in particular, and they're probably the greatest tag team in Irish in wrestling today, is the Saviors of Destiny. I
Yeah,
think
that's
they'll
actually
have
one I've that's a good shout. I've wanted to have them on
Yeah.
for ages. I keep meaning to reach out, but I want to see them in person first before I put out. I can't remember who put out the tweet, but I remember saying to them like, when you're going to come down to Limerick, so that I can see them
Soon, hopefully.
because I was supposed to.
Soon, hopefully.
I was supposed to see them in RCW, but that match didn't happen. So lovely. Like obviously I've seen Nita Vine. So I want to see the Saviors actually in a match first properly before we have them on. Like I've watched them on Fight Factory, but like I want to actually see an in-person match.
Yeah. The other person for me that, and I don't think any of you would be surprised, is Be Cool.
Yeah.
That's a definite. I would say that's a definite in year 2 that is going to happen. I'd be very surprised if it didn't happen.
I'm gonna be so mean right now. I'd love to get. He's gonna hate me for saying this. I'd love to have Danny on, and then Biko just show up.
Yeah.
And just watch him leave.
I'll say one
Yeah,
for the
that'd be pretty
record.
cool.
I'll say one for the record because like we've heard through different people and stuff like that, he's not very keen on interviews, right? And I'm hoping that someone who knows this is going to hear this and screenshot it and show him the audio of this, right?
This is your job, Claire. You want this person on. I know exactly who he's talking about.
Scotty Davis,
I
if you would
agree.
like to come on the podcast and talk about Jushin Thunder Liger, we are here. We don't have to talk
If
about
you'd like to
own wrestling career. We can talk about Jushin Thunder Liger. We can talk about Japanese wrestling. We can talk about whatever you want. I am a massive, massive mark for Scotty Davis, and I badly, badly want to have him on the podcast at some point.
You can even do what you did with Colin and just go, yep, no, and fuck off. We'll be happy with that.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll be happy
Take
with
it.
that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. If somehow this message does get out to him and he is listening, like his OTT career has been so freaking good. The matches that he's had with some of the wrestlers and stuff like that. Genuinely, if you do want to come on, any day at all.
We'd love it. I would say one thing as well, looking at the guest list that we've had for year one, we've never had a female guest on the podcast ever.
This is true.
That is one thing we really, really do have to change. And I've had one or two people say it to me. We were supposed to interview Anita Vaughn, but things just didn't work out timing wise. So that was supposed to happen. Session Moth has agreed to come on. It's timing wise. So don't think that they're just not asking them. I've asked Raven Creed. I've asked Nia Vaughan. We actually asked Session Moth. We asked Session Moth, and then another person asked Session Moth. So it's just all timing. That's all it is. If I was to pick one female to come on, Raven Creed. She seems like she'd be absolutely hilarious to chat with.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm a big mark for Raven, but I would say Debbie Keitel. I'm a massive, massive Debbie Keitel fan. I'd love to have a chat with her for about 90 minutes of the podcast. Especially after Scrapper. I was a casual fan, and then just Scrapper just fucking changed my entire perspective on her. Like,
I'm gonna just cut off from what females we'd like to have on. Joe's one name we didn't mention that we'd love to have on.
Go on.
Omari.
Oh yeah, but yeah.
You're supposed to be his like you're a fan of him. You didn't think of him.
I am, and to be fair, out of all the 5Marks, I'm the only one who still likes Amari after like the recent shenanigans of months. You know what the thing is like I would say that for us to get Amari on the podcast, right? Amari, if you look at his stuff pre-OTT and everything like that, it's absolutely phenomenal.
Got it.
I do think that would be one that we would need to do in person. That's what I would say on that one. I think that because like I've never really seen him do media, and we've all met him in person, and he's an absolute gentleman. I'm obsessed with his new entrance music as well. And like the current vibe he has going on and everything since going heel, I think is fantastic. But yeah, look, if we're reaching for the stars here as well, Amari, if you're listening, if someone in the OTT locker room is listening, we'll pay the big money. We'll pay the big money to have Amari on the show. We'll give you Martin's replica OTT title belt, so you have an OTT title belt if you come on the show.
yeah. Joe, I'm just going to actually start listing off names that we haven't had on that we should already get at. Martin Steers.
Yes.
Oh my, yes.
Steers is certain. Butch Armstrong.
Yeah,
Yep.
I had a lot of names. Justy.
Yes, that's the one that we are pushing for the most as well.
Yeah. Katie Harvey.
Yeah.
Phil Boyd.
Yeah.
They're kind of bigger names. Max or Guinness.
Yeah, actually,
yes.
That's one actually. I said it into the group chat earlier. Who was the other person I said earlier today that we haven't had on yet? The lads in the flats. What's his name?
Paddy?
Oh, Limo. Limo or Paddy?
No,
Paddy,
I think it was Paddy. It was Paddy and Guinness. How have we not in the first year had them on? Like, do you know what I mean? I just thought about that today, and I was like, my God, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they'd be great ones too.
Future plan?
Limo is another one.
Here's one thing as well, and I'm always just super sorry to cut you off. I'm always just super cautious of this, especially if you're like a wrestler and you really want to come on. You will be on here. Because I'm always super cautious of like maybe the lads are like, God, maybe like they just don't like me, or they just don't see anything interesting in me. We're going to have every one of you motherfuckers on. It is all just timing. It is. I keep saying this to lads and Hard Knocks as well. It's all just timing in terms of like, one day it could literally come to my head like, oh, I'm going to reach out to this person, and I reach out to them and we have them on. That's literally how that fucking works. Is I'm like, who do I want to come on? I literally have like a list of names in my head that we've not had on, and I go, I'm going to reach out to that person now. I'm going to reach out to that person now. So, like, you will be on the podcast. Don't think that we just don't want you on. We're going to have you on. Trust me.
To be fair as well, going on the way that we booked things in the past is like, the way that the podcast kind of like works out guest-wise is we try and have, like, we do things in blocks. So
yeah. It's like, we'll do like whatever's relevant to the show going up and who's in the show.
Exactly. So like if OTT have a big show coming up, like let's say a scrapper or an anniversary, the 6 weeks prior to that is going to be, you know, your OTT mainstays. And then if we have a Hard Knock show coming up and we've got 4 to 5 weeks beforehand, if we're not doing a predictions one, that's all going to be, you know, Hard Knock school talents and everything like that. So that's how that works. Like, you know what I mean? I would be delighted if more reached out as well, though. Like, you know what I mean? Because sometimes, like you said, Martin, people just escape our thoughts. Like,
and don't be afraid to reach out to us as well. Like, as we said, Daddy Cross reached out to us. Shut your mouth. Simon Hill reached out to us. That was actually, if we did not have Simon on, that was going to be my I want this person on, because of what he does in wrestling and esports. So
that was a really fun one to listen to as well. I remember it was on a hike listening to that one.
So, you know, Dave reached out to us. Like the Simon Hill one, I think we're in the middle of our road to Scrapper at that point. And then we had him on, I think, 2 months ago. Was it April? It was the week of my birthday. So it was like the you know, whatever, the 20-something of April. I think it was like the 26th or 7th. So, like, that's how long that one took. It is literally all about what's happening. Let's try and get this person on. And then, like, in the in-betweens, we'll, you know, go at random to who, like, comes up in my head. Literally. That's how that works.
100%. Yeah, as I think it was Emmet that said it. We want everyone.
Yeah.
Every single person that has ever existed.
We want all you motherfuckers. Everyone has a story.
We want to chat to. Yeah, exactly. We want to listen to a story 100%. So, those of you who haven't been on, expect a message
at some point. At some point. There's a lot of you. I gotta get to a lot of you. Okay. And there's some people you might have a message in your thing already. Just please look at it and let us know.
There's a few of them. There's a few of those.
Leighton Buzzard, Emmet really wants you on. He wants to just give you a hug and a kiss right there and then.
I didn't actually even think of Leighton, to be fair. The last few shows become a massive mark for Leighton, to be fair. And like the thing about it is, well, I'm not going to spoil the information that I have on Leighton, but what I've learned about Leighton in the last 4 weeks, I want to have a conversation with him about that. I'm not going to spoil it. We'll wait until that episode happens. Outside of that, I do want to add as well, there's a lot of lads who've been retired from Irish wrestling for at least 10 years that were involved in Irish whip wrestling, or involved in, I tell you a gas one that I learned from the episode you did with Joe, actually. Do you remember we were talking prior to the podcast ever starting about shows we'd been to, and I was talking about the show in the West County that had like Rob Van Dam, Sabu, X-Pac and stuff like that. Do you remember in the interview you did with Joe when he mentioned American Wrestling Rampage?
Yeah, that was it, was it?
That was that show. That was that show.
It's crazy what you learn.
Honestly, like, do you know what I mean? And that's one of the fun parts about
when you
go on.
When you did the one with LJ, I learned that the first house show I ever went to was the first house show LJ ever went to. So it's crazy what you learn.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, and that's the fun part about it as well, though. Like, do you know what I mean? Is going in as a mark and going in blind and just.
Again, I'm going off on a tangent, but just to go back to one of the coolest things that ever happened was me realizing I actually met Simon Hill back in 2017, and then now he's coming on my podcast to talk to me about wrestling. My podcast. Our podcast.
5, not 1. That's how maths works.
I thought I said when I joined, like, you did the hard work.
Yeah, you got him on.
Coming on Kevin's podcast.
I'm basically, you know, I'm the guest on the podcast now. You know, so you're interviewing me.
Could you imagine if we did that now for an episode? We interview Mark number 2.
But like,
a year later, Kevin, where are you now?
But having him come on and getting to chat to him about oh my god, I'm pretty sure we met at the event that you went to, and we have a photo, was very cool. Well, I'll let you go into the next segment because I'm taking up way too much time here.
No, do not worry about it all. So we are okay.
Sorry, is your work now? Sorry.
No.
Oh, sorry.
I'm saying we're fairly well run out of time, so we better finish.
Oh no, this was probably the longest episode to date.
And it kind of makes sense. It's the
it's the 1 year anniversary episode. Sam, we love you, but we're taking your first place spot as longest episode.
Feel free to come back and retake it though.
3 hours. Sam, come back with 3 hours.
If you know Sam, he's up to the challenge.
What you got for us next, Emmett?
So, our second last segment on this episode is actually it's going to be a whip round.
Ooh.
Favorite show that you attended in the first year of the podcast existence? I'm going to rule out Scrapper Mania immediately because that is an easy answer for all of us.
Okay,
it's phenomenal.
I have an easy answer.
Do we have to rule out?
What?
I've only been to three.
No. Just Scrapper was next level. And the main event kind of peaked at above a lot of the shows we were at. So to make it fair, everything else bar Scrapper. What's your number one?
Okay, I thought
Panto one.
We have to mention it.
Yeah, we do.
I actually forgot we went to that.
The time that episode where the marks went on the register.
Yep.
So we went for people listening who didn't know. So we were starting to go to Irish wrestling shows, and we saw there was one on.
It legit was my first wrestling show, just to say, just for context.
But anyways,
it was everyone who's listening.
It was one of those American wrestling things, and we thought, we'll go to that. It's a tenner. Why the fuck not? And it was literally just a panto show, and it was terrible. It was, but for us it was terrible. But for the kids it was great. Because it wasn't.
The sight of Kane just towering over everyone at that,
but the rest it gave us so
the funniest thing ever.
It gave us so many just memes, like if you want to meet the wrestlers, make sure you have your backstage passes. Parents, make sure you get them their backstage passes to meet all the wrestlers.
I want to imagine it's like a Santos Grotto scenario where they just sit on the wrestlers' lap on the children.
Oh. I will say as well, the initial thing that when we walked through the door and they had a security guard on it, right? And I'll never forget, there's like a group of lads walking in the door, all of us at like 25, 26, 27 years of age. And we walk into the sea of children. And I remember just looking and I was like, oh, lads, we'll back out. But like Martin's family was inside, so it was too far to backtrack. Yeah. And we sat out, and the funniest part was like myself and Kevin looked at each other like, we'll get a pint now and everything like this. We literally went over, got 2 pints, sat down, we're just like, but this is the end game now.
But you know what? I'm happy we stayed because of the memes we got.
I am as well.
I guarantee you there's just parents that are looking at like, oh, where the fuck are these people? Are these lads' children? Like, Yeah. And then the realization to go, oh fuck, they're not here for what I think they're here for, are they?
They're here for the backstage pass.
You want to sit on the wrestler's lap and get the complimentary chop, like.
That happened the very next
wrestler's grotto.
No, it wasn't.
What was actually good about that show was the fact that the first Iron Knock show was actually on the day after.
Yeah,
so it was kind of like we were able to kind of build ourselves back up to having a good wrestling show straight away after, so it worked out.
And it was a nice palate cleanser because we went from the absolute drizzling shits to an actual great wrestling show as well. In fairness, like that first Iron Knock show was phenomenal.
Great.
I thought I had my answer right off the bat, but I'm gonna give 2 for 1 because they're honest to God. If you're taking out Scrapper, I'm gonna just take big shows. They are so tied. Is Hard Knocks Unbroken and the tag tournament. They're the 2 shows I rightly enjoy being at for the whole show.
I'd agree with you with Unbroken, to be fair. Unbroken was going to be my number 1 for one that I attended. I would throw in 8th Anniversary as one that I watched. And the only reason I taken Scrapper off for the record was just Sammy's title win, because that was...
Oh, that would just throw us all to saying Scrapper.
Exactly, but that 8th Anniversary show too, I was one of the only one of us not in attendance for that. I rewatched it there last weekend, and my God, the main event especially, I had no idea.
Fuck you, Trent 7, you fucking worked me, you prick. I thought he was actually fucking hurt, and I went, "Oh my god!" After just watching Trent Seven just literally end his career, and now he comes, I'm like, "You fucking prick."
Well, he
You
actually,
prick.
like, you know, he robbed money off of Carmo there at Scrapper Mania as well. Now, to be fair, like,
He did.
If you want to hear that story, go back and listen to the Mania special. It's a funny story.
Yeah.
mention of the Joe one as well, actually.
And that one as well.
Yeah.
Go on, Carmo.
For favorite shows, I will go for. Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard.
It's to narrow it down to one.
Yeah.
That's why I had
Well,
to
you can give like a top pick and an honorable mention, and say if they're close if you'd like to.
All right, top pick is Unbroken.
Yeah, Unbroken was next level.
I'll go Scrapper Mania last year.
Okay.
Because it was my first kind of proper big show, and I have to go. I'll go to first Hard Knock show to be a little bit different.
Okay, yeah, no.
I so badly wanted to say the tag team tournament match, but it was only for like the last fucking 10 minutes.
Really, I really enjoyed the whole show.
I thought it was a great show, but I can't put it into like my top.
Yeah.
If you're asking me for my top show, I can't put it in there. But for the moment that was in it, epic.
No.
I think mine was my first Hard Knock show. The one where with Steve Savage and Sammy D at the main event. That one was really good for me.
Oh,
that was
I was going to say, I now have a kendo stick, but I moved it up there. People can't see it. My AJ Styles plaque, it's on top of it now.
I would say that was probably the second most fun I've had at a show, with the exception of Scrapper. But like, have Hard Knocks ran 3 shows or 2? It's 3 at this stage, isn't it?
3, yeah.
3, yeah.
Yeah, so it would have been the second one that I was at, wasn't it?
It was the second one. That was your first one.
Yeah, that was the second one.
That was probably out of the 3, that was the best so far, I think. Now the third one was phenomenal. The Sammy D.
I loved the Sem and Raven Black fight.
The Raven, the Raven.
Yeah, that was a really good match.
I forgot to mention this on the cool moments, and this is the hands down coolest moment. What was the coolest moments? The best moments was something you asked.
Favorite moments.
Terry Thatcher calling out Danny Cross for a match. If you were ever listening and you think, oh, that had to have been fucking planned out. No, he told us he couldn't tell us a thing, which we're like, that's fine, respect that. I asked the question about Hard Knocks. Yeah, fuck it, why not? And just calls him out there and then. And me and Carmo were just
crazy.
That is the coolest moment, hands down, on the podcast, was getting to do that, and then getting to see us on the show, which was,
especially like with the animation.
Yeah,
none of us knew that was happening, and all 4 or 5 of us were in the corner just like, what?
I missed it the first fucking time. Do you know why? Because my dad was like, will you go get me a beer? I said, no, I want to see if they put the Terry Thatcher thing in the promo. Oh, we should just go get me a beer. So I go get him a fucking beer. I know he's listening to this right now in the car, fucking driving along, laughing his ass off. Get him a beer, come back. Oh my god, they had us on the fucking Titantron. I fucking turned to him and I went, I fucking missed that because of you. And I told you it was going to come up. So I had to read you a whole reaction. You see a video of me going like, oh yeah, there we are. That was the second time they showed it. I missed the first time.
And after this episode has come out, Martin has now been evicted from his house.
Yep.
So
he's currently homeless. He's
I now live out in the
that's why we're setting up the Martin McMahon Trust Fund. Get him back on his feet. He needs this. He's interviewing anyone now for money.
But yeah, that's hands down the coolest moment, and I think that's one of the few one of the moments that really set us off.
100%.
So why don't we reached out to the listeners of the podcast for some listener questions, given that it's the anniversary show. Now I know that you guys answered quite a few listener questions on the road up to the tag team tournament and stuff like that. I don't know how many we got. Do we have enough to make this a segment? Do we have enough to not make this a segment?
No, we've got
Belt away then.
Let's do it over.
So, and obviously then, I think, have you got questions for us as well in terms of like your own ones? Because I have a few questions as well that I'll ask you guys about the last year as well that we can do afterwards.
No, like most of my questions were like at the very, very end. It's actually one very specific question, to be fair.
Okay. So, we'll start with Instagram. We have 5 from Instagram, okay? So, first one, which interview did you find the best to do? Carmo.
LJ.
Fair.
I felt so comfortable from start to beginning with the LJ one.
When I thought you'd be the most, like, nervous about.
No, for some reason I was quite calm. I had my research done. I knew what I wanted to talk about. I was quite calm. Yeah. I think that was it as well. The fact that it was like the first thing in the morning, I was like, grand, I'm in. Whereas when you're kind of thinking about it throughout the whole day, you're kind of, oh shit, I have to do this now and prepare my questions and stuff like that. Whereas I think first thing in the morning, grand, no bother.
Just like that, Carmo sums up being prepped for the leaving cert.
That's not even a lie.
Yeah, that's literally it.
Looking back at it now, like, what was I so fucking worried about?
That's it.
Emmet, how many have you done?
I have done Boots, I've done Corvin, I've done LJ. I sound like someone listening off their body count now. I've done... Who else have I done?
Oh, you slut.
There's our soundbite for the start of the episode.
You were with us for the SEM interview that we just did.
Yeah, I was there for the second SEM interview.
I feel like you were there for one more.
The second, I think I have been on more, but they're just not coming to mind. The second SEM one was grand because I was talking about a lot of stuff that I would have done in work anyway, which was fine. Interview-wise with the talents, I would say I was really nervous for the LJ one. But the only reason I was nervous for the LJ one was because
I'm a huge fan.
I was doing my lit review at the time. So I had spent all the time that. So I had very little prep done for it. So it's very apparent in the interview because you listen back to...
Mikey was the other one you did.
I did, yeah. You know something, actually? I was very relaxed for Mikey. Mikey and Corvin were the two I was the most relaxed for. Mikey a little bit more so than Corvin, and the reason for it is myself and Mikey have a lot of mutual mates. And Mikey's only been wrestling for like 2 to 3 years. So it was very, very laid back. We had a lot of fun, and it was his first interview too. So it was gas because like for what like the amount of experience he had in the business and everything like that. Anything he was kind of worried about as we were recording, myself and Carmo were able to give him that peace of mind throughout. So that one was a lot of fun for me. That was the most relaxed I definitely was during an interview.
So the most relaxed for me, again I've said it so many times, Denny Cross, Dennis. There's a few, but I'd say the easiest one to do, again being different, I'll throw Sem into that. Yeah, that one was I was very relaxed for that one, so that one I'll throw in.
I think Boots too as well was.
Well,
a pretty
no,
one.
I was still very, very new. So I was still, like I was saying this to Carmo, I think the point where I stopped being nervous was when we got Matthew, because at that point we'd done Kean Noonan, just with Josh, Sam, we kind of Terry Thatcher. So at that point I was kind of like, I was still a little anxious, but I wasn't like shakingly nervous about, oh my god, I hope this goes so well. And we've got a nice smooth, smooth sailing now. So that it's easy. The one interview I'm gonna throw this in. The one interview where I thought it went terrible. Not to the. I remember saying this to the person because I just thought, for a story, I thought we had an interview with someone on a Thursday, but it turns out I had it booked for a Tuesday. So I came out of work getting a text from this person being like, "Hey, are we still on for tonight?" And I went, oh shit, fuck, I forgot. I went back in the DMs. I was like, did I not say Thursday? I said Tuesday.
Oh, I remember that. You were supposed to go to the gym with me, weren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So, I remember fucking, like, I think I called Carmo, was like, are you good to go in like 45 minutes? Carmo was like, yeah, I'm good to go. So I was just underprepared. I was overly stressed out because I just forgot about it. But it was Fabio The Fabio one went fucking really good. It went perfect. But in that moment, I remember telling you as well after work, and I'm telling Carmo afterwards, like, oh, I think I fucked that one. I think I fucked that one up because I was underprepared. I thought I just absolutely bollocksed it. And I remember I said it to Fabio in the DMs, and Fabio went, no, that went perfect. I really enjoyed that. I'd love to be back on. I was like, thank God we didn't.
I remember
fuck it.
this because I remember this conversation in work, and I remember listening to it when it came out and having to send you the DM being like, "No, Martin, that was absolutely fine."
Yeah, it was just the feeling of being underprepared for it.
I think there's
And
one
see,
that
that's the exact opposite feeling of the preparing for the leaving cert. Being underprepared, but everything turns out grand.
That was my
It's a real yin yang thing you both have go on here, and I'm noticing the patterns.
Go on, Carol.
But I think that's the thing that has happened for multiple different interviews. Normally, after an interview that I'm on anyway, I normally ring Martin or ring Emmet or whatever just to have a quick chat about the interview and how it went. And like, there's been tons of times where like one of us might have gone, oh, I don't know about that one, but the other one's like, that was absolutely brilliant. Like, or you know, if like there's been episodes where I've kind of like, I really don't know what to say or what to ask or anything like that, but Martin will kind of cover it. And I know there's been episodes where Martin's like, I don't really know what to say or what to do. I've covered it, you know, that kind of way. So like, there's that moments that happen throughout, but like, it happened, you know, it happens. Like you kind of get over it, you move on. But then once you kind of listen back to the episode, that was absolutely fine. Nothing was wrong with it. One of that was for me was Sammy D. Yeah. During the Sammy D episode, I was like, oh Christ, I don't know if this is any good. I think I did a horrible job. I'm not sure about the questions and something like that. Emmet watched it back, I think later that evening, and you were like, man, that was absolutely excellent.
I remember you not believing me when I said it as well. You were like, oh, I don't know, and everything like this. And I remember watching it at like fucking 11:30 at night, just the raw Zoom call on its own. And I remember buzzing at the end of it. Went out the back to have a cigarette and everything. I just came back in and texted you, and I was like, that was phenomenal. Like, I really, really did enjoy that one as well. I did not get the trepidations yet after it.
It's just the fun of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it was it.
Fun of
well, we all get it. Like I was that after the LJ one, like, do you know what I mean? Because like I went into it having very little prep done and not knowing much about LJ bar what I knew about him at the time that I was watching it, and like it's evident when you listen back to it because like Carmo had loads of like, you know, and I didn't want to interrupt Carmo because you know when someone's in a flow as well, that's one thing with interviews. It's like when someone's in a flow, you leave them alone. So like Carmo, they'd be very courteous at one point. Was just like, Emmet, have you any questions? And I was just like, after all this super detailed run in the interview, I was like, do you prefer working as a heel or a face?
It went on for 2 minutes. I remember I teased him for this so much. I had to edit that one. And I don't know why, I just happened to find it. But there's points I might like listen in. I listen in if for the beginning parts of the episodes, show something funny in as a kind of a transition into the episodes. And I remember listening to this for some reason. And you start asking the question. You go on a tangent for 2 fucking minutes.
And then ask the same question again.
And I'm just like, this is typical fucking Emmet. Just goes
I've been silent for like an hour, and I'm just like, I will talk for Ireland, so I didn't know what to do. I was just kind of like, oh no. Yeah. So I haven't spoken. What do I do now? And then went into that loop, and then I could see it.
Emmet's like, I had to fill up my quota there, like I fill up my word quota.
If the video is so much funnier, because like LJ is literally in his bed looking at the camera like this, just like so confused because I'm asking the same question 3 times over, and I just thought,
so I've seen you in Hard Knocks as a heel, but you're OTT's a face.
It wasn't hilarious if he just went up for it. He just got up for a piss, and you were still like,
asking
the question.
The next question is what would be the moment for you to happen on the podcast? So an interview or something like that. What would be? That's the moment you want to happen. Again, I've already said it. FTR.
I would agree with you with the FTR one, but for myself personally, if we're going to go like out there ones, it would be having either Alex Shelley or oh my god, what's the Alex Shelley? Chris Sabin. Either of them on their own or the Motor City Machine Guns together. The Motor City Machine Guns as a tag team I would love to have in the podcast.
Carmel?
I'll go Wild. Seamus, Balor, Becky, or JD.
Please God,
I'd say JD is possible.
Please God, JD McDonough. That would be a huge one.
I think we did a podcast, all 5 of us together in one room. I think that'd be pretty good.
We were going to with this one.
This one was.
Oh, were we? Oh.
But it was just work and everything like that, and everyone's schedule was all over the place. Make it happen. We wanted to kind of live stream the recording of it as well for it, but it just logistically it didn't work out this time.
Oh well.
This
it just means it's something that can still happen.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like, we've just done our first ever, so it's already out now. We've done our first ever in-person interview with Mercer. So, anything can happen. The next question then comes from a complete idiot. Worst episode idea you guys have had that never made air? Carmo.
China episode.
I said that, but I'm not allowed to use that one because it's too easy.
Because that one will happen too. The sex tape episode will happen. It might even be at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Emmet, put your shirt on.
I haven't done the research yet. It's like, I need to view it again.
I can't
for research purposes. Obviously.
I can't remember most ideas we've had. The one I'll say I'm glad never happened because it was an idea I had that probably turned out better that we didn't listen to me was having an interview like once a month. I thought that was the better thing to do. No, it's better. I prefer talking to these guys. I
will say now, to be fair to Mer, that was like very circumstance as well at the time, to be fair, because like we were still doing topic stuff quite a bit, and I kind of knew that Kevin and Keane weren't able to do it every week. I was starting to get heavy into my thesis, so I couldn't do it every week, and we were on the road to Scrapper at that point. So that was a good coincidence that happened. But I will say, we have sheets of ideas for episodes that we never did, and I will say one that came up one time in a dinner that we had inside in Dan O'Connell's. I'm delighted we never did this. This could work as a YouTube video, but not as a podcast. I can't remember who it was, but someone had the idea for a pay-per-view poster episode. And I was just kind of like, my mindset still at that time was like, if you don't know anything about wrestling and you've been to one event and you hear an episode like this, it would just totally be like, what the fuck is a pay-per-view like? Do you know what I mean? So that would be one I would say for that. I don't know.
Was there an idea for an episode? I vaguely remember like favorite wrestling action figure or something like that.
Probably done by me. Well, no, that was probably recommended by me. Yeah. I'll say this one as well.
Oh, well.
I'm so happy that we never did King of the Ring 19 whatever.
Was it 1998? King of the Ring? Oh god, yeah.
No, it was I nearly certain, was it 95 or 96? It was before Stone. No. What year did Stone Cold win King of the Ring?
I don't know.
90s.
Is this the one that Viscera one?
No, I can't.
No, 96 was Austin.
I can't remember whatever year it was. I'm so glad we didn't do that one. That's one.
Yeah.
Carmo.
96 was Austin because it was the Austin and Jake Roberts final.
Carmo, what's one idea?
I genuinely can't think of one. I can't go that far back to kind of when we were doing. When I kind of came up with ideas, I haven't written down somewhere. Don't know where.
I have a copy.
I
have a copy somewhere of the first number of episodes. Like it's literally the 2022 notes. I just don't know where it is. Like, this is my notes for 2023 in this little copy. So when we're doing interviews and you think, oh, they're not prepared. There's the Corbin interview, like the notes. What I think would be really cool if anybody actually wants these one day, that we just all sign it and just give it to somebody. So, no, I'm not going to use it anymore.
Every interview we've ever done.
Every
interview we've ever done is in this.
There you go.
Every Iron Sheik quote is in this. Every on this day is in this. Every topic is in this that we've done.
When we get to
Joe Rogan, this lad is the resting squat. Like, I'm sorry, like Jesus, he's like a savant.
But you know what? This is something I wanted to do on the episode. A moment that we used to do quite a lot was the Iron Sheik quote.
Oh, the tribute.
Sadly,
R.I.P.
the Iron Sheik passed away recently. So, for one last time, and this is the one that I found in the notes. This is this week's Iron Sheik quote of the week.
Shiki Baba.
Take me down to the Suplex City where the jabronis are green, and I am pretty excellent, Bubba.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
That's our Iron Sheik quote of the week.
Will that be the last Iron Sheik quote we ever
Yeah.
do?
That'll probably be the last Iron Sheik quote we ever do.
Bittersweet on the anniversary episode of the show.
Wow. End of an era.
The next question then, using just this is the last Instagram question we have. Using just Irish wrestlers make the ultimate dream show. So just to make it a bit easier as well, and also because time restraint, just do an opener, a mid card, and a main event. We'll just do that just because time restraint. Like me and Carmo kind of already did this type of one before, but I think we just did like a main event one. I'll go off the bat because I know you two are thinking. So straight off the bat, I would open up with a tag team fatal 4-way eliminator. And now this is me just saying this on the spot. It would be Sweet and Sour taking on the Social League, taking on Maxton and Sterling representing the Draw, taking on the Kings of the North for the OTT tag team titles. The mid-card match I would give to the GM title, which I think is the workhorse title of OTT. Good old Danny Cross defending his title. I'm going to do a singles match just different because it's the way I want my main event to be. I would run back Danny Cross versus LJ Cleary one more time because that was a fucking banger of a match. So that would be my mid-card match. Not saying that LJ belongs here, but you know. And then my main event would be obviously for the OTT World Title, a triple threat match between, I can't believe I want this to happen at the Draw, but it's not going to, Sammy, Corbin, Damo. Triple threat.
Ours were very nearly close. Ours were very, very close.
So, Joe, I'll make it 4 because I realized as well I didn't put any women's matches. But I would do, and if it's a dream match now for Irish wrestling, I would do Debbie taking on Raven Creed, taking on I can never say the name right. Is it Valkyria?
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie.
Because I keep saying Valkyrie, but I always feel like I say it's wrong. Because I'm pretty sure they say like Valkyria or something like that on NXT. Taking on Valkyrie, taking on who's the one we saw at Hard Knocks? It was L.A. Taylor.
Yeah.
I want to see, like, she was fucking great at Hard Knocks. I'd love to see her in the ring again. So that would be my women's match, and another fatal 4-way as well. I just realized that. Enjoy the Irish wrestling version of the WWE pay-per-view fatal 4-way.
Can I just jump in just to add something to my own before I go off of this list? I'm going to go on the premise that we have the 3 arena for this and we need to sell it out, right? And it's all going to be like currently active Irish talents. It's going to be a 4-match build. Obviously, there would be more if this really happens. Opening match, OTT, gender neutral title, Scotty Davis, Danny Cross, 2 out of 3 fall submission match. No count outs, just submissions, right? For the second match, I'm going to go with, it's going to be a weird one. I'm going to go with Kings of the North versus CJ West, Galacini.
Oh, you fucking ruined it.
And no. And the reason for it, the reason for it is, if you're selling out the 3 arena, you need, like, you know, a funny
How
kind
do you
of
sell
contrast.
out the 3 arena with Galacini?
Easily enough, man. The Tash fucking sells it all. I don't know what this Milky Man is getting mad about.
Sing his song, let's come on, break out the Milky Bars there, like. Entice them back.
Getting back to my reason for this is very simple, right? You have the Kings of the North, who are obviously one of the most established groups in the history of Irish wrestling. You have CJ West, who is a phenomenal talent and a hilarious talent when he's given the mic, and Galacini, proper typical Limerick. I think that in front of Dublin crowd, a couple of thousand, be hilarious. Outside of this wouldn't be my main event, and it is a main event match. Sammy D, if he was the current defending OTT World Heavyweight Championship, art champion, defending against O'Mari and Leighton Buzzard in the semi-main event.
Just throw your 3 favorites together, is it?
Exactly. But my main event, if you had the 3 arena and you had OTT and you need to sell it out, and if the person who is active at the moment was able to do it, Session Moth Martina defending the OTT Women's Championship against Becky Lynch in the 2 out of 3 falls match.
I had a feeling you were going to say Becky. I don't know why. I had a feeling you were going to say Becky. I like it.
I don't know. Like once the question came out, I was kind of like, okay, if we fantasy book it under normal circumstances, it go all over the shop. But if it's 3 arena,
I feel like we should actually do that at some point as an episode, but also with like the listeners in as well. Everyone just a fantasy booking of like a Forbidden Door with OTT and any other promotion, in terms of like you can pick someone from WWE, AEW, wherever. You know, I think that would be a good episode. Get the listeners in as well. Read out everyone's dream matches. You know. And
hang on,
I'm assuming Becky Lynch has never actually fought Session Moth in a match before. No.
But we can't let the fans fantasy book it, because if we do, Robbie Two Belts is going to have himself on an OTT card against Roman Reigns in like a Punjabi prison match defending his 2 belts, and we can't be having that.
No, we can't.
He'd win it too, though. That's the only thing. He'd win it, though. That's a good thing.
Carmo, book.
I'm still stuck on the first match a little bit. So I'd go a fatal 4-way for the first match. It'd be Jay, Danny Cross, LJ Cleary, Scotty Davis, and I'm kind of stuck in a 4th person. Do you know what? I'd go Fabio. Fatal 4-way elimination match for the GN title. If you were to go mid-card, I'd go... There's so many you could do mid-card. One match that I'd go for is like Sammy D and Be Cool for the OTT title. Why not?
Yeah, okay.
And then main event is Seth Mock versus Becky Lynch last woman's Sunday.
Not too bad. John, I'm going to throw in one more as well. Who'd be your commentary team? Mine, hands down, Luke Barry and Justy. And you know what as well? I'd have 3. I'd throw Jay Money in there as well.
I couldn't do a show without Angus. I couldn't do it. I couldn't listen to a show without Angus.
So Angus?
I like Luke Barry. I think Luke Barry would be a good addition.
Gonna go with Jamie.
And like Justy's so good. Like I'd have Justy on commentary. That'd be my choice.
Justy's just great.
I like Jamie Coleman as well. I like Jamie Coleman. Jamie and Angus have a brilliant partnership. But I think if I was to go major fantasy book, they'd be the truth.
Not too bad. No, I think that's fucking solid. Kevin, do you know many wrestlers to book a show?
Let me think. The ones I know. I guess for the opener, I'd like to see Boots actually in one of the open shows.
That is
in a singles against. Because I always think Boots is really good at getting the crowd going, and if we're going up Emmet's hypothetical 3 arena, I think if these boots are meant for walking / playing, I think that will get the crowd going. I really do. And his opponent, let me think. No, I'm gonna say Sen.
Yeah. The 2 of them, it would be a good comedy match. Yeah, no.
I think that could be a really kind of. I think it'd be funny. I think it'd be energetic. Yeah.
No, I'd take that.
I'm going to give it.
That's actually that's a smart one as well, and that would be a good opener match to get people kind of
very good opener match.
You know, going.
Yeah. For the mid card. I guess I go for a tag team match. I'm going to need a help. I'm going to need a hand with the tag. What was it? The Sons of the
Kings.
Sons of the North.
Kings of the
North.
Sorry. Yeah. Against. Oh man, I'm really showing like how bad I am at this.
You could do the draw. You could have Sterling and Max.
Yeah, the draw. Yeah. And
your main event.
I would like to see a main event Just because it was the first Hard Knock show, a rematch between Sammy D and Steve Savage for the championship.
Yeah.
So good.
And I'd like to see Steve Savage win it.
Not a bad show, Joe.
That's not a bad show. So we're moving on to the Facebook side.
That's coming
now.
from some like a very, very I'm an amateur at this now, you can already tell. And I do not know much about this at all, but I do like watching it.
You're absolutely grand. I think you put a solid show there. Like seriously, especially the opener.
Yeah,
the opener, like
very
none of
much
us
so.
fucking said that. Like that's a huge opener to get like people kind of going and excited and stuff like that. So going over to Facebook now, the first question is, and it's very, very kind of humble one. It's just, how are you? Emmet, how are you?
Humbled.
Nobody
Humbled
cares.
by that question.
Carmo,
I'd have to say I agree, but yeah, pretty good.
Kevin, how are you?
A bit too sweaty.
I'm not gonna lie, I am sweating bullets. Like, since after the gym and in my room now, which is like a hot box, that
Yeah.
I am very uncomfortable.
You can
But
probably tell-
other than that, you know, I'm all right. I'm hanging in there. You know.
I'm good.
Probably tell looking at us in
Oh,
the
yeah.
videos how sticky we are for this
Well,
episode.
to be fair
yeah.
enough, thank God I got a
Yes.
fan above me, which is a godsend because I was very, very bad when we started this.
Like- Martin's dad said it before we recorded. I have never been shinier than I am on camera for
Yeah.
this
that's
one.
why he's wearing a hat.
Yeah.
And I am. What?
Go on.
I was gonna say I am as good as you possibly can be.
Yeah, I'm so happy I'm not wearing pants on this heat. It's lovely.
And this is why we don't
Based.
let him stand up.
Yeah.
Next question: Brett or Sean?
Sean.
Sean, but because I grew up with Sean, I didn't grow up with Bret Hart. However, I was nearly thrown off because of Dax Harwood and the way he was treated, but it's still Sean. I don't agree with the way he was treated by Sean, but Sean. Kevin, Brett.
Many people.
Yeah, same reason you gave there. I grew up watching Shawn Michaels, but the Montreal screw job, like I still feel Bret was robbed.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
I don't really have an opinion here, but Scott Steiner opinions. Scott fucking Steiner, like.
Oh, I got this one. So Scott Steiner has the best gimmick transition in the history of pro wrestling, right? When you look at the Steiner brothers to him becoming Big Papa Pump, I think is the funniest thing ever. His run in TNA is absolutely fucking hilarious.
His
Like,
promos are brilliant as well.
The math promo.
33
is-
3rd
Yeah.
percent chance
So
against
would you
your
would sacrifice, you got a 33 and a 3rd% chance. But like, if you want
add
like,
that to my 33 to 3rd% chance.
if you want a
I've got
hilarious,
140% chance of winning against you tomorrow.
if you want a hilarious Scott Steiner promo, because it's kind of sad now because Scott's had like a few kind of like health scares as led. I remember, was it last year or the year before, that he collapsed at a indie event and stuff. But if you want a really funny Scott Steiner promo, which like his tag team work is his legacy, like, do you know what I mean? But there is a hilarious main event Mafia promo. I'm nearly certain it's their first promo collectively as a group. And Kurt is like proper Perk Angle at the time. I sent this into the group chat a few weeks ago. And you remember, like, throughout the segments, like, they're there and they're like, okay, why'd you forward main event Mafia? We need to teach these people about respect. And anytime someone says the word respect, Booker T in the background, respect, really loud and abruptly out of nowhere. And you can see them all just like holding themselves, trying not to laugh. But like, I can't even say what Scott Steiner said in this promo on the air now, like, but he's given out about the X Division. This is early 2009 in TNA. I will say, if you go back to TNA's like YouTube channel, you'll probably find it. I can't say it on the air, but it's one of the funniest things ever. Scott Steiner's rant about the X Division early 2009 in TNA. That's all I'm going to say. Absolutely hilarious.
His feud with Triple H was something as well. That was
The flex off.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was
I think
it wasn't good. It wasn't good, but it's iconic. You know.
I think Emmett. I think you said that absolutely perfect. And we'll we'll leave the Scott Steiner opinion there. So the next question then comes from our favorite, the Golden One himself. Has 2 questions for us. So, first one: who's gonna win at Hard Knocks, him or Carmo?
I'd say Carmo. And it's just a
Carmo.
pity that Rob went and got t-shirts made up for it.
Yeah,
Imagine
no.
getting t-shirts made to memorize your own demise.
It's like
It's true.
carrying
It's
around
true.
them 2 belts, getting a t-shirt made where he's holding them. You know what? It'll be a funny, a nice little reminder to him of what he once had when we take the titles. Sorry, when Carmo takes the titles at Hard Knocks.
When he gets caramelized at Hard Knocks.
Oh God! Oh, oh.
It's funny he calls himself the golden one because the only gold that'll be around anyone's waist that'll be me.
Ooh, not too
There'll be
bad.
a scrap.
He then asks us, who would be your one wrestler that you would like to maybe... who would be your one wrestler that you like that maybe not too many people like? Straight off the bat, Austin Theory. That
For
is
me,
my...
Good one.
I would say Sabu. I'm a massive Sabu fan, and I've met Sabu, and he's a gentleman. But like, even the reaction when he was on AEW TV recently was so negative, and I'm like, he is literally a hardcore wrestling legend. Like, do you know what I mean? And even like that, like when you like his stuff with Taz and early ECW and stuff like that, his work with Rob Van Dam when they were a tag team and everything like this. The Bar Boyer matches in Japan, like he is a living legend, and I don't think people respect him enough. I think he's an absolute icon.
Good one.
I
Carmo.
agree. Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
Good one.
I'll even say I hated... when he started the Bo Lee fucking shite, I thought he was an absolute idiot.
Believe.
Next question comes all the way from Jerry at the IWE. I hate that I'm just now naming people. To everyone else that I didn't name, I apologize. Where would you like to be in 5 years?
Retired in a villa in fucking Portugal.
From the podcast and everything, he just wants to be done.
Yeah, that's all I want to do is retire.
I've got a pretty good one for this. And I just want to see what you think of this now. Whether or not this will happen, I don't know. I would like, within the next 12 months, for us to somewhat get monetized and grow that over 2 years. I'd like the listenership to grow, but that would be a reflection on the guests that we get and us doing more content. But if you were to look at 5 years' time, I would love to us to have a very active YouTube channel in which that we could do vlogs for trips to shows, maybe do backstage interviews and stuff like that in character for shows, depending on companies or whatever. I would love if in 5 years' time, if not all 5 of us, but if at least 2 of us could have this as a full-time job where the other 3 could help every now and again. I think that'd be ideal. I'd like to see like a lot more merch and stuff like that. We're going to be doing something like that in the next few weeks as well. Some of you might already know about it, but yeah, I'd like to see just the scale and the quality go up and up and up. But I would like to see at least 1 or 2 of us doing this as a full-time job in the next 5 years.
I'd be the same. I'd like to be able to do the podcast a lot more. Like I want to be able to do a lot more content, but just at the moment, time wise, can't. Like I want to be doing like so many things for the YouTube. One thing I want to really start when we go to shows is like doing like little vlogs. When we go up to the shows, I think that would be different, unique. I think one of the things as well is that I keep saying. So like, if we're going where would you like to be? I'd like to be the same spot I am now, but just being able to, you know, as I'm to do this full time, meet a lot more wrestlers, be putting out amazing content for people to come to watch, and hopefully at this point, to pull back the curtain a bit, this is why we're doing the whole Raw with the belts, is I would have liked to have made for the fans like the before shows a lot more a lot of fun than what we came into it. That's the whole point. Like my plan is that I make this cheap shitty fucking belt, call it the Irish Wrestling Fans title, and like what we're doing like what was challenging Rob for his belts is that this belt will go around promotions. People have to defend it in absolutely stupid fucking things like a game of rock paper scissors,
arm wrestling, basketball,
arm
hoops.
wrestling,
Yeah.
anything. The person, like, you have to defend it at least for every one show, and this belt just keeps traveling around, you know, and just something fun for even for the wrestlers. If the wrestlers, I want to fuck it like the Irish 24/7 title that the fans can also do, just something fun, for everybody, you know. So in 5 years' time, I'd like to be the reason for a lot more fun as well coming to the Irish wrestling scene for the fans. Not to say that as well it's not fucking fun and shit like that. I love taking the piss out of Rob before shows. So
I will agree with all of you, but one big thing that I really want, hopefully sooner than 5 years,
married to
is a
OJ.
press pass to WrestleMania.
Yeah, like well now WrestleMania now would be, I don't know,
It's
but I
possible.
would.
It's doable. It's
It
possible.
is doable. I was about to remember, like maybe not WWE. We'll get one for Japan. We'll just make it a lot more difficult.
If we're doing stuff like that, I'd love to have a pre-show before a show. Whether that be OTT, Hard Knocks, RCW1.
exactly.
I'd love to be doing a pre-show with doing interviews and stuff like that.
I do think that that's going to happen. If not in the next 12 months, the next 18 months. But that's going to take. Well, we've a lot of the work put in there, but I think it's just on our scale, which a lot of people have gotten back to us about. It's the production value of the show would need to go up, but that's an investment in our part that we need to kind of be earning a little bit more and stuff. And I just want to kind of like pull the curtain back a small bit as well. You might have seen the post that we did about t-shirts and stuff like that about a week or so ago. A big reason for that is obviously it'd be nice for us to have t-shirts out and everything like that for people to be able to promote the logo and stuff like that. But as well as that, us investing money into t-shirts means that if we generate a revenue from it, that we can invest it into webcams, and we can invest it into maybe different editing software and stuff like that. And that's basically what we're hoping to do now. So that would be an immediate goal, whatever, about 5 years, but for the year or two especially, is production value to go up. Like my microphones are relatively okay. I would like rather to have a Blue Yeti as opposed to this condenser mic that I've been using for the last 2 years. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that, but that's a slow but sure process, like, do you know what I mean? We're not going to come into the money to upgrade everything overnight either, like, do you know?
100% of that.
Things will get better as we go along, as well as just to mention, because of the merch. The merch will be coming hopefully within the next month-ish. We just have to. It's costly, but it's going to be worth it to see you guys kind of walking around with it. Not only that, but I don't know how I don't know how long it's going to take to even make them. You know?
Oh, it's about 2 weeks. It's about 2 weeks. It's a local place that's doing them. They did the From the Depths t-shirt, so it's about a 14-day turnaround.
Dios mío.
Expect them anywhere in the next month to 40. We're somewhere around.
The next question then comes from Laura, who says, "Congrats on the first year." Thank you. We didn't even think we'd be here. My question: who do you see as a future OTT champion? And we all have to give different answers.
Do we have to give him as like a school talent or an established talent?
I presume anyone.
Anyone who sees it now. Obviously, they can't have been champion before.
Yeah.
So straight off the bat, I'm going with Danny Cross because he is my favorite. He is my favorite wrestler in Ireland at the moment. Then it's Sam.
I've got a pretty practical one. I don't think he's going to be champion in the next 24 months, but just his gimmick, looking at his Instagram page, the way he has everything laid out, he's a very, very smart young man. I say this, I'm young and he's younger than me now. Cian Noonan will be a future, if not OTT World Heavyweight Champion, he will be a future gender-neutral champion, or an NLW champion. He is a very, very, very smart young fella. From listening to that interview and stuff, I wasn't on it. I haven't met Cian. I've been watching Cian as a fan from afar. I love the whole sculpted gimmick. He is ripped to a shred. He is mobile as fuck, and I am just waiting for the kind of the starting press gun to be launched in him on an OTT show, because we saw him in a Contender show and he was absolutely fantastic. We've seen him in a Hard Knocks ring and he's absolutely phenomenal. I want to see, like, you know, like maybe for him with his age and stuff like that, he might need someone to like talk for him. I don't know how he is to speak. Do you know what I mean? He came across very well in the interview, but like just the gimmick that he has over his Instagram and stuff like that is so clever. We fantasy booked like him turning heel a few months ago on this podcast.
I'm still calling it. It's going to happen, and he's going to be the best. He's going to be one of the best fucking talents on this island. I'm telling you now. He just needs help getting away from CJ West beating the shit out of him every week.
Actually, do you know something? I'm going to put a prediction for 2023 for the rest of the year on the podcast here now, right? Where they're talking about J Money Enterprises, they need another member of staff. Throw a sculpted Cian Noonan in there.
It's not a bad shout.
That's not a bad shout. That is
Have him
not,
work with J Money
because then you have, we'll say the God. I want to say you have the past, the present, the future, but not like I don't want to say past when it comes to Scotty. Scotty's been around for a very long time with OTT. He's kind of, you know, he knows everything. You have the present in Omari, who was the champion, you know, so he kind of brings that knowledge, and you have the future in Cian Noonan, who they can pass that information to, and he can rise up. I think that's.
But imagine then if like you see this more of a violent streak to Cian.
Yeah,
like it
but
perfect,
that's what I keep. My vision, and it's a fucking terrible vision, but it's a vision nonetheless. And I said to him, you know, as a heel, the sculpted Cian Noonan, the Irish but better version of what Chris Masters was.
Yeah.
You know, don't be a big dude or you know that does like big dude shit. Be your fucking self and be unstoppable.
Someone that can kick your head in.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
But can still fucking do a 450. You know, oh my god, I've said it before we even had him on. He is the future. He's one of the future guys. Carmo.
Be cool.
Jesus Christ, you're such a mark.
No. I'll go with a younger talent. And this is someone who I think has major potential and could well be up there in the next, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years, and that's Mikey Kelly.
Yeah, won't disagree with that.
He's so good, and I genuinely can see him up there at that level in a couple of years.
Mike as well. What's Mike's nickname again? Not Mikey Kelly, but
Monty.
There you go. So you're such a big cool Mark. We've got 3 questions now from Cullum. First one: favorite match of all time.
Oof. Are we talking Irish or like all time?
All time, because there's that question for Ireland.
I'll go for my actual favorite. Michaels and Taker 25.
Okay.
Controversial. Michaels and Taker 26. I think it's a better match. Just for the ending. The slap. That's my justification.
And I'm going to have all of the hate because mine is a relatively, in the last 6 years, recent one. But every time I think of the build to this match and this match, I just remember great fucking times. No Mercy, 2016. AJ, Cena, Ambrose. The build,
that is a great
everything.
Match.
And then the second place to that would be the ladder match between Dolph and not even the ladder match. Oh god, I forgot about that one. That was a great one. I was gonna say the Miz. But even though
can we throw in honorable mentions then if that's thing, because like we talked about this in the group chat last week, and I thought it was a little bit of a controversial take at the time. I would still argue that MJF and CM Punk's dog collar match from last year is a 10 out of 10 match. That was phenomenal. The entrances, the build up was brilliant. Like, even if you detest Punk, that was brilliant.
If we're throwing honorable mentions in, Ospreay versus Dax Harwood.
Ospreay actually and fucking Omega. How did we forget that? We like literally. I've said this twice in the group chat. Actually, that's probably one of the greatest matches of all time, just for this past January.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Favorite
and the
match,
rematch is happening in only 5 weeks.
Favorite match of the last 5 years.
Omega Okada 2.
I'm gonna let him think.
5 years. What year are we in now?
2023. So you're going back to 2017.
Oh, 2017. No. I have to work out my years though. Hang on.
No, sorry, you're going 18. So you're going WrestleMania 34 time.
I'll throw in one.
Okay.
What about the four-way from SummerSlam? Samoa Joe, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns,
Braun.
It was a good one. Yeah, it was a good one. Very, very good one. Do you know what? Taker and AJ.
Yeah, please fucking
Taker
say that. Do you know why it's so underrated? So underrated.
Taker and AJ. It's a really good match.
I'm not a fan of cinematic matches.
My one is actually a little tease for people that have to go watch it when it comes out. Triple threat match to crown the first ever RCW World Champion. Sterling, LJ, Butch. What a fucking match! And if you want a match that I thought, now again, this is me. I said it to him as well. I think it's a hands down match of the year contender. Again from RCW this past weekend, Danny Cross, Leighton Buzzard was a fucking amazing match. That's currently one of my match of the year candidates.
That would be one off the hand, just because I know we're running out of time. But really quickly, off the top of your head, Irish match of the year so far. We're in June,
that's actually next. Favorite match to take place on the island of Ireland. Sammy D versus Amari. That's my. Come on, you're the guy that watched like nearly everything on OTT. I know there's ones you can't say. So obviously you cannot say them.
I'm going to say one. And I don't know if the people at home are going to agree with this. Kevin actually mentioned this earlier. I thought it was phenomenal. I don't think it's as good as Sammy versus Omari, to be fair, but I want to offer a bit of a variation, and I think it was a phenomenal match. I would probably go with the Timothy Thatcher's his second title defense against Butch Armstrong. The third Hard Knock show. That was a fantastic match.
Carmo.
I actually thought you were going to steal my match. Steve Savage and Sammy D.
I thought you were going to say that as well.
I was going to, but then I thought about that Timmy Thatcher match, and I was like,
Terry.
Why do I keep
because you keep
Thatcher?
Because you keep thinking of, is it Timothy Thatcher from, he was in NXT, yeah.
But I never watched NXT. That's
well,
the
I
thing.
don't know. You're just an idiot. So there's that one, and then I think I've done everyone bar this person. I've left her to last because she always loves to throw questions in. She's got 2 questions. One of them.
What's her name?
Claire. And I don't want to ask this, but why is Martin so jealous of Gallicini? I'm not jealous.
Because Martin has a wake tash.
No, shut up, you. You tried to have the friggin' tash for a week. You didn't even last.
Gallicini liked my tash now. That's the difference. Gallicini, he shared my tash.
So, I have no...
What the actual truth is Gallicini can dance better than Martin.
He can't dance for fucking shit.
He's better than.
So, and I had someone tell me that Gallicini was like the greatest of all time at RCW. I was like, are you fucking crazy? Like, are you high?
True. True.
I'm not jealous of Gallicini. He keeps calling me out because I point out things he does wrong and he says, no, that's photoshopped or whatever. He just won't take criticism. So, you know, it's Gallicini's fault, is what I'm trying to say. So, and the last question from Claire, dream interviews for the next year. So, I'll give one, because we've obviously mentioned it a lot, just one more to add to your thing for the next year. Mine, straight off the bat, Chris Van Vliet.
Yeah, wholeheartedly. We actually did say that was a goal for this summer. Now, not unfortunately, it's a great thing. Chris and his wife had a baby, so it's not possible at the moment. But we're hoping as the months kind of go down and as they get used to being parents and whatever, we can make it happen. Now, the only thing is with us, Chris is obviously in the US. We're here in the Republic of Ireland. There's a time difference, so be a bit of juggling. His schedule is up the walls, but I would imagine I'm not even going to say in the next 6 months. I would say in next 12 that's going to happen. we're going to really, really work to make that one happen because we all want that one to happen. To be fair,
if people don't know, like that's where we get the inspiration for the interviews. Is me and Emmet watch Chris Van Vliet for fucking God knows how long, you know.
At least 3 years on my part now. Like I love Chris Van Vliet. He's a bit like outside of like wrestling podcasts and stuff like that. In general, he's a big influence on me. Like he's a massive inspiration.
Yeah, that's where, and we've said it to him in the DMs, and he was very grateful to know that without like we wouldn't be doing this without him doing insightful. So I'd love to have Chris Van Vliet on. Carmo, one more person that we haven't said.
Kenny McIntosh.
Yes.
100%.
That was actually.
Let's make a goal on the air. Let's do that before Christmas.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was actually one of your ones before we even started the podcast of who you wanted on was Kenny. But go on. One person, Emmet, that you haven't mentioned yet.
I actually have two, but I'm going to mention very quickly without any explanation. One is Sabu, and the other is Jerry Lynn. Those are two. And Mark Cardona. Those are my three.
Good shout. Good shout. Jerry Lynn is good.
I have been binging a lot of old ECW the past month and a half since leaving my last job, and I swear to God, I'm in a buzz now. Like, do you know what I mean? And the weirdest thing as well was when I started that was when Sabu was announced as the enforcer for that AEW match, and I was just like, oh my God, okay. Maybe I need to stop watching ECW for a bit now. Like,
ECW is actually one of my favorite promotions ever.
Same, especially like from 97 on. 97 on. Oh my Christ! When Taz peak submission machine, his feud with Sabu, you can't beat it. You honestly can't beat
those
it.
Moments where Taz would stand in the ring, arms folded, lights
and Sabu up like this when the lights come on.
Oh, so good!
Amazing.
Even the run of Bam Bam Bigelow. Bam Bam Bigelow was so good in ECW.
The choke through the ring.
Through the ring, yeah.
Yeah.
We need to do an ECW episode at some point.
Final fan question, which comes from Mark, who you literally, I'm not joking, Mark, you got this in like last second. Like he's just come through now. Thank God we went over by...
And we named the podcast after him.
An hour and a half. This is easy fucking one for me. CMFTR or the Elite? CMFTR. I'll never bet against the boys. It's like the draw. I'll never bet against the draw. Unless it's socially involved.
I'm not going to answer it. And the reason I'm not going to answer it is because I didn't properly follow FTR until I didn't follow their NXT run because I wasn't watching wrestling again at the time. CM Punk is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. But in equal parts, the Okada Omega matches and the Ospreay Omega matches are some of my all-time favorite matches of all time. So I'm not too in doubt to either side. So I'm going to.
I love how this is going to go three ways because we know what his answer is.
Yeah, it's the Elite.
Why is it the Elite, Carmo?
Because Boo Punk.
He does not like CM Punk. But yes,
so Carmo will be live streaming the first episode of Collision this past Saturday on the Twitch page. Because this episode is out after the fact, so.
Yeah, I honestly think I'm like the only person not looking forward to Punk's return.
I'm 50.
If it wasn't for the fact he was working with Joe, I wouldn't be excited, to be fair.
I'm 50-50, you know. I'm still bitter about Brawlout, but at the same time, obviously stuff come out saying that maybe it's not all we think it was and some other stuff, so I'm 50-50 on it.
I think he's going to actually come back and shit the bed. Like, I don't think he's going to be able to do it at all.
Yeah,
but it's great for us because we have so much more content to cover if he shits the bed twice, and we can collaborate with the Dropnicks and do CM Punk Part 2 in AEW.
See, you're
I'm
killing
not talking. It's okay.
You're killing the man. Well done. But yeah, that is it for the fan questions. So, was that?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for all for your questions. We greatly appreciate you guys always taking part in this. It's something I want to start doing as well for the interviews. Actually, we've even started doing it. We did it with Joe. We did it with Sam. And we're going to continue to do it going forward. I actually forgot to do it for Corvin because that one was such a... I think we got the interview and did it 2 or 3 days later. So, whoever the next interview is, we will ask you guys again. And we greatly appreciate you guys always taking part. And again, thank you all for the well wishes of saying. I forgot to say that Market says, congrats on 1 year, fellas. So.
Anyone watching on the YouTube?
So yeah, was that your last? Was that your last segment?
It was, it wasn't. But you know what the thing about it is like all of the questions basically answered what my last segment was going to be, and we've answered it throughout the episode. And it was going to be what were the goals for year 2. I think we've covered pretty much all that we want to do. We want to grow the podcast. We want to show appreciation to listenership. We want to expand our reach, audience-wise and guest-wise and stuff like that. And basically, I think to make the long and short of it is we want a little bit more imports. We want kind of, we obviously said that we need to include more female talent on the show and everything like that, which is an obvious thing that escaped us. We have a load of Irish talent that we need to cover. We haven't covered yet. We're going to get it all done this year. But outside of that, one thing I'd love to do is get more listener involvement in the show. Like we mentioned there with the questions and stuff like that. If you were to ask me what I'd like to do in year 2, I would actually love to interview older fans in Ireland. I would love to interview people who've followed wrestling since like was it like Heroes of Wrestling that was on ITV, or Giants of Wrestling with like Giant Haystacks and the likes of that, like Big Daddy. I would love to talk to people from back then who've been following wrestling for the last like 40 years, who are still following now, and see what the contrast was like on the island of Ireland, being a wrestling fan back then in the 80s or late 70s to now in the 2020s. Like,
we've spoken about this. This is something we spoke about getting like fans on and stuff like that. Like we thought of Little Rob, obviously Rob Gold, people like that who've been around for like Rob Gold has been around for as long as we have in terms of like watching Irish wrestling. But then you got the other people who've been watching since day one, who are always telling me I'm an idiot for only getting it now. And I'm like, yes, I know. I missed so fucking much. So,
yeah, but there's 5 of us in that now, to be fair. Like, you know what I mean?
So, it's something we'd love to do. As well, my main thing with this as well is, I'm very big on, and I've said this to a lot of the other guys as well. Like there's other podcasts, there's other like interview kind of channels. People like the IWE, people like Wrestling Slam. The Scoop does Keeping the Fabe. You've James Nation. Did you say someone else?
Is it Joey Monroe?
Joey Monroe. He's under investigation at the moment. We're not allowed to say what happened and stuff like that. But I think he's just running and hiding. But people like that, I want to have them on. I want to, my biggest thing is, and a lot of the guys are the exact same. That what is it? All tides rise, sinking ships, or something like that. I can't remember the saying is. It's like it was in my head and now it's gone. But just like pretty much like just we all bring each other up. It's just to work with them, get them as big as possible as well. Because the Irish wrestling area is very it's like very hidden. It's missed. People need to be seen. Drop Mick lads, fucking bring them up as well. They're fucking doing it themselves. Like as I said, 280,000 on that CM Punk documentary. But just to, always just be there looking out for the other guys as well. And, and working with the other companies as well, getting the companies noticed. RCW, Hard Knocks, Titanic, getting... there's no point getting OTT noticed. OTT is the best promotion in Europe. But, I'd love to be working with them as well. That's my biggest goal, is working with them companies.
I would say that one thing as well, just to mention to anyone that's like a content creator in Ireland that is in any way related to Irish wrestling or whatever like that, if you're ever interested in collaborating, we've been so busy the first year just trying to get interviews under the belt and build our own type of brand, because everyone else has been around for so long. It wasn't a conscious thing on our end that we didn't reach out to anyone or anything like this, but it is a big thing we want to do in year 2, especially like, for at shows and stuff like that. We can make content together, like, do you know what I mean? If there's a big gap between shows, we can make a topic and we could do like, we could hop on to like IWE, and then the IWE guys could hop onto the 5Marks. There's loads of avenues for expansion there, like, do you know what I mean, for everyone, like, do you know what I mean? That's something like Martin attested there that we'd love to do in year 2, like, do you know what I mean? It's a big goal, to be fair.
Yeah. So I agree. I was saying, I mean, the Wrestle Slam lads were saying it as well. You know, again, you can go check out my first interview that I did with the I was gonna say RCW lads, with the Wrestle Slam lads on their YouTube channel. But you know, just Irish podcasters and stuff like that gotta look out for each other. You know, I'd love to do stuff with the Wrestling Slam lads anytime they want. Well said by me. Well done, Martin. Good job. But Carmo, what's things that you'd like to be doing?
I think you've kind of covered it all. Like, I'd like to do a lot more YouTube content, like involved with maybe gaming and quizzes and stuff like that. So that kind of way, getting other people involved in that as well. Exploring our reach, kind of as we kind of talked about, getting in like international talents and stuff like that, for interviews and stuff. And as I kind of said a while ago, trying to get like media passes for different kind of shows, just to kind of bump ourselves up a little bit more. We'll say for like AEW in London, if WWE come back and stuff like that. That's our stuff. But other than that, you kind of mentioned it all.
One more thing I want to do as well is to make sure that I want to do with this podcast is just to also let people know that Ty is lying. Ty is a liar. Okay, getting Fabio and Martin fired, you crossed the line, Ty. You crossed the line.
True. That's true.
And in his OTT debut, Milky Martin McMahon versus...
No, we're not doing that gimmick.
Somewhere.
But yeah, but
that was the perfect time.
Yeah.
But so, 1 year is done. That is it. That's we've done 1 year of the podcast. Obviously we've had a shit ton of help.
We've had more help than we expected, to be fair. We've really
more help than the people expect, you know?
Yeah.
Carmo, I know you had you had a segment you wanted to do there relating to this, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, I'll kind of cover it. So one, I kind of want to do like nearly a thank you kind of thing for everybody, and essentially, I actually got to start off with the 2V. Emmet, I want to really thank you for actually coming up with the idea for the podcast, kind of steering us in the right direction. You obviously have
get drunk more often with COVID.
Which
now that'll get us cancelled.
Yeah. Which, if people haven't listened to, check out from the left from Emmet.
How dare you!
I don't know. We have to do it.
Now, I will say, I'll be honest with you, right? I've been doing From the Depths for 3 years. 5Marks is my more successful podcast.
But not just that.
Listenership wise.
No, but just because when this comes out, it's literally in a couple of days. What else do you have coming up that's not From the Depths related, but on that thing that you can promote here?
So this is coming out on June 24th. So the following Saturday, is it coming out? No, this is coming out June 25th.
24th. This comes out the 24th, the day of the anniversary.
24th. And then the following Saturday, so Saturday week, I'm running a music festival inside Limerick City, Monkfest on July 1st in Pharmacia. Barbecue from 3 until 5:30 with Chicken, who is one of the 5Marks. We will be playing heavy metal music, 80s wrestling themes, and 80s music in general, while serving barbecue food for a good cause. Everything's going to Temple Street Children's Hospital. There will be 6 bands on from 6 until midnight, and there might be a little bit of a shindig afterwards in the side alley of Pharmacy. We'll wait and see. But again, we've got merchandise, we've got posters, there's going to be record stalls in the day, there's going to be lots of stuff. If we've got 5Marks t-shirts by that time, I may have a few on hand. We'll wait and see how things go.
Back to you.
100%. Second thing I want to do is to Martin. Martin does so much of the background work. That goes a lot unnoticed by probably a lot of people.
I'm surprised the wrestlers don't get sick of me.
No, even by us.
They probably are.
Yeah.
That's it. So yeah, I really want to thank you for that, and hopefully over the course of the year we can try and help out a little bit, not much more, but a little bit more.
We start more social media platforms for him to manage.
Yeah.
Will you start a Kick channel? We also want a live stream service of our own.
Yeah, we're just going to invent a new social media or something. I do want to thank every listener that has ever listened to the podcast and has ever rated the podcast, ever followed us on social media, anything like that, shared our podcast. Thank you so much, and I hope you continue to listen. To all the guests and everything like that we've had on, Foxy, for giving us a chance. If you hadn't given us a chance, God knows where we'd be by now.
Yeah.
That goes to everyone else as well. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on. Sam, I don't think I could ever thank you enough for what you've done for us. And if there's any way that we could possibly repay it, any way at all, you know where to find us. But overall, I just want to thank the 5Marks podcast for it being here for the last year and putting out excellent content and giving us a chance to break through into different markets that I don't think any of us ever thought we'd break through in.
No.
Yeah, just an overall thank you, really.
I just want to just add one quick note that, like, just to add on everything you said there, and I need to owe a debt of thanks to the pair V, the talent that we've worked with, and the fans that we met over the last 12 months. The fact that I've fallen in love with wrestling again, which was something I totally forgotten about over the last 10 years between heavy metal music and, like, you know, when I was like in my teens, when I left like following wrestling, like, you know, talk to girls and all these things or whatever like that. But I forgot how much I actually loved wrestling until, like, you know, I thought I would put the two of you guys in contact, help you out for a few weeks, and then I'd kind of dip out of it. And the total opposite has happened. Like, while I haven't been on every episode all the time.
Now he's
like,
the manager.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I call myself the producer, but like the thing about it is like, you know, if you told me on June 24th last year that you're going to be in the National Stadium with 2,000 people and you're going to borderline wet yourself over a fella from Tala winning an Irish domestic World Heavyweight Championship, like, I would have been like, you're talking shite, like, do you know what I mean? And the fact that happened less than 6 months later, it's been the biggest joy of this podcast, like, and it's a great thing that I had forgotten about in my life. I'm so happy I found now at the edge I am now, like, do you know what I mean? And it's something that I hope I never lose again. And the reason for it was this podcast, because of you guys that have been on the podcast, because of the pair of you guys leading the podcast the entire way. And I am beyond excited to see what year 2 is going to be like, because year 1 was us finding our feet. We know what we can do now. So what year 2 is going to offer, God only knows, like, do you know what I mean?
A lot less Galacini, I can tell you that.
Well, maybe a bit more Galacini.
A lot less Galacini!
We have to have more Galacini.
But yeah, no, like what the lad said there, like, you know, the fucking podcast has been absolutely brilliant. It's given me, you know, it's given me something to do. It's given me something to absolutely love. You know, to all the guys that have come on, helped, or even said, you know, things to encourage us to keep going. You know, fucking Boots is the biggest fucking, you know, Nathan is the biggest encouragement we have. You know, the kind words he said to us, the words of encouragement, to, you know, what we should be doing. Fucking huge. The Scoop from fucking from Keeping the Faith, one of the biggest supporters, one of my favorite people. Love working and encouraging each other. Again, like you said, Foxy took a fucking chance to come on this podcast that had no credibility, absolutely nothing to go off of, and from that we were able to just start doing interview after interview. So we'll always owe Foxy for that. As you said, the Sam has done. I just wish we could tell you what he's done, but obviously we'll keep that behind closed doors.
He was the switch.
He was the
switch that changed it all, to be fair to him.
Yeah, he very much was. He's done so much for us. It's absolutely unbelievable. Said to the fans that listen, you know, thank you so much for listening to, well, technically two gobshites talk to wrestlers about absolutely stupid things, and Emmet comes in every once in a while. To the promotions,
it's never been a fair word.
To the promotions that have done stuff with us, given us opportunities. Holy fucking hell, they're the coolest things we've done. You know, getting to do a live interview, or not a live interview, an in-person interview in the Hard Knock School. Holy fucking shit. Another thing I did in the Hard Knock School that I can't talk about, and it'll probably never be seen, was so fucking cool. RCW that we just worked with. Getting Luke Barry on, who was somebody I wanted to get on. So we got to do, giving us tickets to give away for the show. Just small things like that is the coolest fucking thing. Danny Cross and Sam for their friendship and just being so fucking kind to us. Especially this guy's moreover. Carmo is moreover than the actual podcast, by the way, guys.
More people know his name than the 5Marks, which is madness. I can't explain that.
Like Sam coming up to him after he won the belt, get a congratulations from Carmo. Sam had a beer and watched football. Is it football or is this fucking what do we call it? Okay, watching football with him before Hard Knocks was like I got to be like, God, he would never have thought this would happen. A couple of months ago. And it's probably the coolest thing to him. To all the Hard Knock lads who are so fucking cool to us. Carmo obviously could thank you guys all the much, but if he starts kissing your guys' asses, and the car drives are going to be a lot more interesting. He's going to get taken the piss out of. It won't be. Is it Billy or Belly? You say?
Belly.
It won't be Belly. It'll be taking the piss out of you, fucking being all sobby, talking to like thanking them.
Yeah.
Lads, remember that one time that Carmo was fucking weeping for us? What a twat. It is very true. They would rip him apart. Even to Rob Gold, who when I have crazy, stupid ideas, he's like, let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
And we need to get him on the podcast too. I'm adamant that we need to get Rob on the podcast at one point.
We do. Because
100%.
The shit that I come up with that I'm like, hey, do you want to do something like this? And he's like, hell fucking yeah. Or if he has a crazy idea, I'm like, hell fucking yeah. It is so much fun to do. And then one of the biggest ones we have to thank is We Come in Pieces for the song that we've had for God, I think it was episode 16 or something like that. If for people who don't know, We Come in Pieces does the official theme song for the 5Marks podcast. They also did some stuff for Hard Knocks. So thank you guys for just being like, yeah, you can use our song.
Can I just extend this out there as well? I have talked with Owen and Kieran, who are twin brothers in that band, about getting them on the podcast at some point. And I promise you, I said this to them at the last Hard Knocks, but literally interview after interview after interview rolled up. We will have We Come in Pieces as a part of a podcast at some point. And I'm gonna shoot the gun here and say this now. If we ever do a live podcast in a venue where we have a stage, they are going to play You Had Me at Hell in full for our intro. That is happening. 100%.
Yeah.
So to all you people, as I said, all the guys who trained down at Hard Knocks, to Steve, Leon, who let us do these crazy things, to the guys down at RCW, Billy, again Luke for coming on and doing all this stuff, to Joe Cabray, to absolutely everyone who's just given us a chance. Thank you so much. I said this before. I was in a shit place before the podcast. Podcast has me fucking perked up all the fucking time. Get to talk to these guys. I'm happy we do it. I'm so happy we do. So that's me done thanking people. I think I got everybody. So
if we didn't, we do thank you.
Unless you're Galacini, fuck you, Galacini.
Galacini, I'm going to buy you a taco chip now for annoying this fucker for the last 6 months.
Curry chip.
It has to be a curry chip. He's very picky.
If that's everything that we have to do if that's everything to say to sum up year one, ladies and gentlemen, will we see you in year two?
No, I'm done. That's it. Okay. I'm out. Fuck this podcast.
I'll see you later. Fuck it. No, I'm really done.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have been the 5Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast, and apparently we are far from ding, done.
We are quite a bit away from it.
I'm back. Don't worry, guys. I'm not gone yet.
Martin, to be fair to you, I will let you and Carmo wrap this episode up now because it has been your baby for the last 12 months.
Well, we're coming up to nearly 3 hours, so we apologise for the long episode, but it's our 1 year anniversary.
This will probably be a 2-part episode, to be fair. If it's 3 hours, just to divide it.
So, I forget how we... So, thank you so much, Emmet, for coming on to the podcast. We'd love having you on.
Yeah.
Good luck with everything that you're doing, from the depths and Monkfest and stuff like that. We're sure to see you at some point in year 2. Carmo, any last words? Sorry, and don't forget to follow our socials, ladies and gentlemen. 5Marks Pod on Twitter, 5Marks Podcast everywhere else. Carmo, last words to our lovely guest here. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, Kevin left a while ago.
Much. Yeah, thanks for Kevin as well. But thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. We wish you well in all your future endeavors.
Wait, am I getting fired from the 5Marks?
No, that actually did make it something you're getting fired. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, we have been the 5Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast, and this has been the first year anniversary of the podcast. But for now, until year 2, we are officially ding, done.
Woo!